D. Mace Fingan and Donick 1025 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. I hope everybody is having a wonderful start to their week. We have some breaking Titans news. I think a lot of you are going to be broken up about it. The Tennessee Titans have waived Tim Boyle. Just let that sink in for a second. Tim Boyle has been waived. Trevor Siemian, come on down. You're the next backup quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. The Titans have signed Trevor Siemian, waived Tim Boyle. The most important news, as released by the Titans just moments ago, the Titans have activated center Lloyd Cushenberry from the physically unable to perform list, which means he's passed his physical and able to practice. So just in time for the Titans as they prepare for joint practices on Tuesday with the Atlanta Falcons. So, Tim Boyle, we hardly knew ye. Your thoughts?
Trevor Siemian is now back with the Titans. Was he not briefly a Titan at one point? I don't know if he ever played in a game, but I feel like he was there for a while. Yes, very briefly. We'll double check.
So brief, you didn't even know he was there.
So now the question is, because I don't, what was going to happen to Boyle was not on anybody's mind, right? I don't think he was ever in the plans. They were going to find somebody if it came down to him playing. So the question now becomes, with Levis out, now we moved on from Boyle, how do you feel about Brandon Allen? And is Siemian, can he challenge Brandon Allen? I think that's more my question.
Well, I'm not sure because Boyle couldn't challenge Brandon Allen. And Brandon Allen isn't doing, it's not like he's pushing Cam Ward either by any means. So you have a dilemma. I know many people don't care about the backup quarterback right now, but you should care. And I'm telling you from experience that backup quarterback, because that, your starter may go down for a series, a quarter, a game, maybe even 2 or 3. And you need to have a comparable backup in this business, because the last thing you want to do is be on the winning streak and then your quarterback goes down and all of a sudden you go from being a playoff team to not being one, all because you didn't have adequate play at the backup position. Neither Tim Boyle nor Brandon Allen, to me, are suitable for this team. They got rid of Boyle, and I'm pretty sure if they can find another guy, Brandon Allen might be gone as well.
Siemian was on the team last year. He's been a little bit of everywhere the last 4 years. He hasn't played in a game since 2023 for the Jets. He started 3 games 2 years ago.
He started a game for the Saints against the Titans at Nissan Stadium a few years ago.
There you go.
I remember that because I was there. And
how ironic.
He was a little bit of a surprise guy that became a starter quick in his career with Denver and then disappeared for a long time. Like 2016 and 2017, he started 24 games for Denver, and then he did not play in a single game until 2021. And since then, he started 8 games, and he was on the Titans roster a lot last year, but never got in a game.
Trevor Siemian has appeared in 40 games in his career compared to 18 games for Brandon Allen. Trevor Siemian has a 15-18 record in the NFL compared to 2-8 for Brandon Allen. 44 career passing touchdowns compared to 11 for Brandon Allen. And apparently Trevor Siemian won a championship. When was that?
Don't know, don't care.
Well, he was a backup on the 20 whatever year that was that Peyton Manning won it. Was that 2015 when they beat
when Denver
when they beat Carolina in the Super Bowl? That was
he was on that team.
Well,
he's been in the NFL that long.
He was on the team. He did not really. I didn't
think he was that
anything. Yeah, he's 33.
Was he on it? I guess 10 years ago. Yeah, he would have been on it. Who cares? I mean,
honestly, this is the question.
He's not the backup quarterback either.
He's not. But there isn't. To me, it's not that they have such a long list of things they've got to do.
But
if Cam Ward is out, who really cares? They're better off losing.
No, they're
not. The more I watch that, the more I believe that.
No, they're not better off. prime example. I just read that article that you said. It was a really good article too about Kansas City and how they built their dynasty.
We will discuss that
And
later
we
this
will
week.
discuss that. And one of the things on there was keeping the morale of the team up no matter what. So to me, I don't want the Titans to have the number 1 pick next year. I don't want them to have the 2nd pick or the 3rd pick or the 4th. Now, if they want to move up and trade out, then great. I want them to be picking 17, 18, 19, 20, 25. That's where I want the Titans picking, because if you continue to lose, it dissolves whatever morale you may have built up before the quarterback got hurt. That's why I say, at least have an adequate quarterback that can win you some games, because you never know where you're at in the process.
And you think Allen is that bad?
I don't think Allen's the guy, man. I really, just watching him, I think he knows the offense, but beyond that, I'm not sure if you had to put him in for a stretch of games that he can get the job done, unless your run game is on point.
Is he good enough to keep morale up, even if they don't win the games? Because to me, that would be ideal. Keep the morale up, but no,
he can't
still pick high. Still pick high.
He couldn't do that, Willie. He couldn't.
Viking Matt.
Can we lose or still keep the No, I don't think Brandon Allen can do that.
Viking Matt on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, I think Trevor is better than Allen. And is Wentz available? Yes, Carson Wentz is available.
Yeah.
Trevor Siemian certainly more seasoned than Brandon Allen. I was also going to recommend, now that I can't do this anymore because Tim Boyle isn't a part of the team, but I was going to recommend to the Titans broadcast for the remaining 2 preseason games to air a disclaimer before Tim Boyle came into the game. The following quarterbacking is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, man, you do that well. How many times have you watched that?
That was a hard game to watch, man. I'll tell you. That was a hard game to watch.
I mean, it was a preseason game.
It was.
All preseason games are hard to watch.
But
by definition.
We fall for the same trap every year.
Of course,
we're so
because we're
excited to
starved
watch
for
the new
football.
team, and here they are, the Titans are playing, and it just drags. And
but we
the
saw
broadcast
what we
quality,
wanted to see.
and when I say about the broadcast quality, I'm not talking about the announcers, but the production.
Yeah,
it is not an NFL level broadcast. I don't know why that is, but the replays and the things like that, it drives me crazy, because there's times you want to see the play again that they don't get the replay on.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
By the way, at one point, I believe the broadcast said that Khalil Mullings was 5'2".
Yeah. It's like, dude, he's not 5'2". He may be 6'2".
No, he was listed at 5'2". I saw it on the broadcast, so it must be true.
So a graphic typo that it does happen.
I believe Burke Nihill's name was also spelled without the E.
Wow. I mean,
Burk. And we'll talk about Burke Nihill this week too. We've got some things that we want to discuss about that
brewing
as well. But sorry, Tim Boyle fans out there, none of you. Tim Boyle no longer a member of the Tennessee Titans. Trevor Siemian onto the team to replace him.
Okay, so let's leave it at this, though. I think the question will be, if we start to hear that Siemian is competing with Brandon Allen, that will tell you a lot, because given how little Siemian has played in the last 5 he hasn't played very much, right?
Nah.
And he hasn't been there, although he was there last year, right? But they had ample time
I think he had
to bring him in. Now suddenly he's in. They think he's better than Boyle, but they think he's
man.
Do I hear Brandon Allen? That's my question.
A young Willie would have been better than Brandon and Boyle last.
I could check it. I was a lefty. I had a Boomer Esiason sidearm sling a little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See?
One texter says, does that make Siemian the only player with a Super Bowl ring on the team? Well, L'Jarius Sneed won the Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, but you may have forgotten that L'Jarius Sneed was on the Tennessee Titans. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you for that.
That's another one.
I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head on the Titans roster that would have a Super Bowl ring to their name. But if you know and I don't, text us 615-737-1025. Okay, enough about Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian.
Cushenberry has one, I think. Does he?
Did he win one with the Broncos with Peyton Manning?
Oh, no.
He doesn't go that far back, right?
Yeah, he doesn't go back.
No.
I thought it was on somebody else's team.
We all want to talk about Cam Ward. Cam Ward, in his unofficial NFL debut, 5 for 8 passing, 67 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, a rating of 89.1. He played 2 series. The first series was over in a blink of an eye. The Tennessee Titans had a grand total of 58 seconds of possession in the first quarter, but Ward and the Titans bounced back on the second drive, punctuated with a Tony Pollard touchdown. We're going to break this down from all angles, but let's just start, gentlemen. Let's start with Derek, then to Willie. Just your general thoughts of Cam Ward's performance. We're going to get into the weeds today, but let's just start with the general review. Derek, how do you feel Cam Ward performed on Saturday in Tampa?
I think he performed like a rookie that has the potential to be a very good quarterback in this league. That first series, you can see a little of the jitterness, maybe the nervousness, even though I believe he said he wasn't as nervous. But when you throw a ball high over a receiver's head, that's just, losing touch at times. He did the things I think the Titans wanted to see him do. He ran the offense efficiently. Yeah, did he, make a few errant passes? Yeah. But even in those errant passes, at least one of them, he knew what he was doing, but he has to get it a little bit further outside. So, because that is a potential interception if he throws it in the field of play like that. But beside that, I think he read the defense well. I think he went through his progressions. I think he got relaxed on that second series, and you start to see more of who he has the potential of being. Because that second series, he seemed very calm, and he seemed into what he was doing. It didn't seem like he was that nervousness was still there.
I think it was fine. Such a small sample size.
Mhm.
We're going to micro analyze a very small number of plays here. I would have liked to have seen another series or two that we could chew on, but this is how the preseason goes. I'm worried a lot more about other areas of the team than I am him. I think he's kind of what I've expected based on what I've seen from the practices, that he's got some talent. What they tell me is his work ethic, his ability to read defenses is good, and so he should continue to grow in that area. It's not going to happen overnight. I don't think he's going to be an instant star by any stretch. What I keep hearing, I heard it from Brian Callahan. One of the first things he said was, we got to keep working on getting the ball out quicker. I think that first 3rd and 5 was a good example of that. That should be an easy pitch and catch, first down, keep it moving, and then you can maybe see some other things that you can evaluate on that first drive. But it goes 3 and out because he missed a wide open guy and rolls out, throws the ball away. But Calvin Ridley or Tyler Lockett was open on that play, I think. But either way, but I like how he had success on the second drive. He comes out of the game feeling good. And maybe that's worth more than anything right after the first game. You're not coming off the field having everybody going, oh, man, we didn't have anything positive happen. He ended on a positive note.
Mhm.
George Costanza, right? And on a high note. So, it was okay. It was a passing grade.
By the way,
Mhm.
multiple texters have informed us that Van Jefferson and Johnny Hecker have Super Bowl rings with
Yes,
the
you're
Los
right.
Angeles Rams.
That's right.
Mhm.
So, welcome to the club, Trevor Siemian, the
Mhm.
Titans Super Bowl winning club.
Yeah, played one game. No passes thrown for the 2015 Broncos, but he's got the ring.
He's got the ring. Here are Cam Ward's Pro Football Focus stats for his performance on Saturday. Of course, we know 5 for 8. That's not fancy. 1 turnover-worthy play. We all know which one it is. The throw down the left sideline intended for Alec Iomanner that should have been intercepted but wasn't because the defensive back dropped the ball. And we're going to break down a couple of plays specifically. The 2 I have in mind were incompletions, but we know that. No big-time throws. He also wasn't pressured. So it was a solid performance. And I just want to get this disclaimer out of the way as we continue to have the discussions today as well over the next couple of weeks. It was a preseason game. We cannot make declarative statements based on 2 series. And yes, there were backups in the game. I feel like you guys have seen 8 Mile, right?
Mhm.
I feel like Eminem at at the end of the movie when he's doing the battle rap and he's telling his opponent, here's all the things you're going to say about me. And then the guy had nothing to say. So yes, it was a preseason game. No, we cannot make declarative statements based on 2 series. Yes, there were backups in the game. So if you're going to text us and say, well, there were backups in the game, we know that. We all watched it. There were backups in the game. It's the preseason.
And if he had gone 10 for 10 or 0 for 10, I think everything you said right there would still be.
I guarantee this.
I don't want him to go 0 for 10.
I guarantee this.
No.
There is going to
I'd
be
have been a
somebody.
little worried if he went 0 for 10.
There is going to be somebody today who texts in to our text line driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. There is going to be someone who texts in today, unironically, and says, Cam Ward, he didn't look that good. Something along those lines. I guarantee you that same person had Cam Ward had Shedeur Sanders' stat line. Well, he was playing against backups. Don't play in the parade yet. I'm just preparing for the next few hours. That's what's going to happen. So,
and we're here for it.
Yeah, I mean, we accept it. We embrace it.
This is what we do.
And then we translate it back to you how we feel. So bring it on. We love it.
By the way, just to let you guys know, I ordered a bell.
Ooh.
I ordered a bell like you have on the front desk of a hotel. Yeah. So I'm going to have to incorporate it somehow. I don't have it here.
All right.
But I'm going to go ding. I don't know if something makes me mad, if someone uses a big word, I don't know, but I bought a bell.
Okay. We're going to use it. It's going to be a part of the show.
All right.
DVD will have a bell. That's breaking news.
You know what? I think more people care about that than Tim Boyle. 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. We will take your reaction all show long, ironic or not, on Cam Ward's performance in his unofficial NFL debut against the Buccaneers on Saturday. 5 for 8 passing, 67 yards, a rating of 89.1. What did you make of Cam Ward's performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? If there are other aspects of the team's performance you want to get in on, you let us know as well. At 615-737-1025. Coming up next, there are a couple of plays from Cam Ward that I want Derek to break down, because I think these were the plays that I think a lot of Titans fans focused on, and neither of them were completions. And we'll do that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Also, by the way, if you're a fan of Rod Stewart, who I learned today is 80 years young, if you are a fan of Rod Stewart, we will be giving away tickets to Rod Stewart's concert on Thursday night at Ascend Amphitheater at some point during the program. I will give you ample warning if you want to call in. We're not doing it now, but if you like Rod Stewart and want to see him on Thursday at Ascend, you make sure to tune in throughout the entire program, because you never know when I'm going to be giving away those tickets. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan. 1025 The Game.
Hey, let's tell you about F&M Bank. Banking made easy on purpose. The countdown is on to our Take It to the Bank segment, which will be every Friday afternoon, even evening now. We're still getting used to this drive time thing. It used to be Friday as we were heading out, and it still will be just a little bit later hour. And it's all from our friends at F&M Bank. They've been sponsoring us for a good while now. We appreciate that. And they've got 20 locations here in our listening area. And what I want you to do is find the nearest one to you. If you want to make your financial life a little bit easier, they're really good with tools that can help you, because your business means more to them. MyFMBank.com. It's MyFMBank.com. If you are looking to save some money, they've got the Smart Swipe card. If you're looking for a business-to-business loan, they've got that for you. If you're a small business owner, they got a lot of good things up their sleeve for you. If you're looking for a HELOC for your family, a lot of things that they've got up their sleeve. And like I said, they're right smack in the middle of your community. We're talking about Mount Juliet. We're talking about Springfield, Murfreesboro, and of course, right on West End Avenue. MyFMBank.com. It's F&M Bank, Banking made easy on purpose. Check out our Take It to the Bank segment every Friday. Member FDIC.
You have a play on the third down on the first series in hindsight with maybe Jefferson coming across?
That was second down. The third down one. The timing wasn't there from a standpoint of what it's always been, but in the game, that's when you just got to be reactive. I got off the pocket too early. I could have painted the ball in red and lock it once I looked at this film. But I just thought I got to get better at just being able to play post snap as well.
That was Cam Ward after his unofficial NFL debut on Saturday, discussing the end of the first series, the 3rd and 6 pass. He rolled to his right, couldn't find anybody, threw it away. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vinga. We're going to talk about that play and one other play that Cam Ward made on Saturday. But first, let's get to your reaction on Cam Ward. We will take your reaction on Cam Ward and the Titans all show long. 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. One texter says, if I'm being honest, I think Ward's performance was fine or what was expected. That being said, I'd like to see more reps next week. I feel like the natural progression from last week would be able to hit more receivers the way he was able to connect with Calvin Ridley. Josh on our text line says, I thought Ward's performance was, while brief, encouraging, something Titans fans need. I also like that the O-line gave him great pockets, even in the throwaway. But yes, they weren't blocking Vita Vea, but even still, we didn't get beat by backups. There was some weird grammar there. Anyway, one texter says, I thought Cam played with a sense of calm that was refreshing after watching Poop the Bed Fred last year, a.k.a. Will Levis. But let's talk about that play. That
I thought his name was Will.
No, he's
Fred. No,
well, doesn't have the same ring.
Fred
to
Levis.
Poop the Bed Will doesn't have the same ring to it as Poop the Bed Fred. The texter also didn't say poop, but I'm trying to keep us on the air. So let's talk.
Well, thank you. We appreciate
Yes,
that.
we appreciate it. Let's talk about that play that Cam Ward was discussing in that clip. Again, it was the end of the first series. The Titans went 3 and out. It was 3rd and 6. Cam Ward had plenty of time. He rolled to his right. He threw the ball away. Now I've seen plenty of people quibble with the placement of that throwaway. It wasn't far enough out of bounds, and you don't want Cam Ward to throw a ball that gets picked off in that same situation in a meaningful game. But Derek, let's talk about that 3rd and 6 play. What did you see when looking? You've got the all 22 up on your computer right now.
I love all 22.
It is great.
Man,
it is
love
great,
it.
especially if you know what you're looking
Exactly.
for. I watch it and I go, huh.
That's a lot of guys out there.
Yeah, 22 of them perhaps. But Derek knows what he's looking for. So when you look back at that film from all different angles of that particular play, what did you see, and what were you hoping Cam Ward would see in that play instead of making the play he ultimately did?
Well, I think it was one of those rookie deals. I think he read it pre-snap as being one thing, but then post-snap they switch real quick. And that's what he has to learn. Defenses are going to do. They're going to show you one thing, and they're fast enough to get out of whatever defense they're in pre-snap. And when you turn your back as you're getting the ball, they're in something else. Now, in that particular defense, it started off as single high, and the safety was almost in a linebacker's position. So he was probably reading single high, and probably more than likely was thinking about the backside. But then that safety who was in the box ended up, going high, and he just read it wrong. That's all. It was straight man to man. That's all it was. It was straight man to man. I think he read it as zone first. He knows he has to get the ball away pretty early when he does that, but he got flushed out of the pocket. So he wasn't reading it fast enough. But that's something that even the most veteran quarterbacks, they get fooled. So it's just, my thing is, I need to go back. He didn't play enough. And this is what we will get next week when he plays on Friday. We didn't get a chance to see if he would make that same mistake over again.
Right.
Because he was out of the game so quickly. Now, I guarantee you there's going to be plays that he runs over, or a defense that he sees, and he may get fooled the first time. I want to see how he then reacts the second time, because that defense is going to come back at you. If they fooled you once, they're going to believe they can get you again, especially as a rookie quarterback. So I think he just read it wrong. I'm not panicking. Would I have liked for him to hit, Ridley right off, or off the jump? Yes, I would have. But I understand his first game as a NFL quarterback. Things like that happen to 15-year vets, let alone guys that are just taking snaps underneath center for the first time in an NFL game.
Quickly, before we get to our phone line, I was waiting for a text like this, and Dustin from Hopkinsville, you have delivered, my friend. Ward did about 4 things I didn't like in what 8 attempts. I don't like his stature and form. I now think he will be more of a bust than I did already.
I think they're trolling you.
I don't think Dustin is trolling me. 2 series, my friend. 2 series.
Okay, and I'll give you another example because of the sample size. Like, if he were perfect, it still may not mean that he's going to do it right the next time.
Yeah.
You know, this it can go both ways. Just like if I played in a let's just say a college all-star game, and I went in there for 2 minutes and hit 2 threes, right? I don't think a scout would say, "Oh my gosh, this guy's amazing. This guy never misses. This guy's a great shooter." Well, you would have to watch me game in and game out, right, to determine what my strengths and weaknesses are. So we are always going to make way too much. Like we're looking for signs, and that 3rd and 5 was a miss that should have been a pretty easy completion, but let's not sweat it too much, right? Even though we acknowledge that he missed that one.
Don't make me tap the sign again, Dustin from Hopkinsville. It was a preseason game. We cannot make declarative statements based on 2 series. And you can say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. There were backups in the game. I'm just getting it all out there. By the way, Dustin confirmed he is not trolling, which I did not need him to do, but he did anyway. Let's go to
He's out. He's out. He's done.
He's done. 2 series. He's done.
Put Semyon in.
Let's go to our friend Mark in Nashville on our phone line, driven by Wilson County, Hyundai.com. What's up, Mark? Thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Before I say anything, what's up, Adam? What's up, D-Mace?
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Oh, really?
Mark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, D-Mace, you can get off me now. I had to do that. I didn't do that to get you off of me. But, you know, I thought about that, D-Mace. You were right. I need to acknowledge Adam. He's
Absolutely.
my guy. All y'all, my guys, man. But, hey, look, I thought Cam, you know, for his first game, I mean, I give him a B. He misread a couple of things, but, hey, man, he made some good throws to Ridley on some crossing plays, made a nice throw to Chig. Pollard had a nice run to score a touchdown. The defense is awful, though. The defense really needs to step up. And they need to add some pieces, maybe get some guys off the waiver wire, especially defensive end. That's where they really need to shore things up. But their backup quarterbacks, Boyle and Brandon Allen, I cut them right now. I really would. I cut them right now because if Cam goes down, they're hurting bad with those 2 quarterbacks. They really didn't show me much. Brandon Allen had an interception, but Justin from Hopkinsville, you can't take shots at Adam like that, man. Really, you need to just get off that trolling or whatever you're doing because that's just not working, man. That's just not working. You got to give Cam a chance. I think Cam will be good, but it's going to take a while. But hey, D-Mace, Willie, Adam, it was nice talking to y'all.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. I don't want to do this. I have to go back. I have to go back to Dustin one more time.
What is Dustin doing?
Dustin says, bro. First of all, don't call me bro.
Are you that irritates you? The bro irritates you.
Don't call me bro. 200 passes through practice, under 50% completion. By the way, he completed 62.5% of his passes on Saturday. I hope he succeeds. I just vibe it. I'm right a lot. He's faking it till he makes it right now. The half ball tap is cringy.
Huh?
I hope he is the next McNair, but it looks rough. I like that Dustin had to throw in there. I'm right a lot. Okay.
What was he right about?
And look, and Jared from Spring Hill texted in all caps, I know it was preseason, but still it matters. Yes, I am not disregarding the preseason. I'm just saying it's important to temper yourself in these situations. It was 2 preseason series. And I want to make sure, because I don't want to be accused of this, I don't want people to say, well, Willie and Derek and Adam said that Cam Ward is the next Joe Burrow and the Titans are going to the Super Bowl. No, we're not saying that. We are just trying to keep things in perspective. Let's go to Gorilla on our phone line, driven by Wilson County, Hyundai.com. Thank you for calling. Go ahead.
What's going on, guys? What we're actually looking at right now with the fan base, the guys chiming in and whatnot. This is the layovers, the Debbie Downer. See, this was the Debbie Downer crowd for this show for so long with the other guy that was in there that's gone on now. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we're going to get a lot of those funny call-ins and fear and hate on the Titans and all that. But check this out, guys. Here's what I want to say, man. I believe, far as the defense is concerned, I think that our defense is going to be more scheme orientated, not so much as skill orientated. They already alluded to that they're trying to get a pass rush from multiple spots. So when you bring a T Sweat in, you can do certain things. And then at the same time, you're giving looks. You didn't want to give looks in the preseason as to what your defense is ultimately going to look like. I believe our defense is not going to be just solid, but I believe that they're going to be competitive at every turn. They're going to be competitive. So I'm not worried much about that. Then, the Cam situation, it's funny how everybody kind of, they're up and just like, whoa, they've already given Shedeur a yellow jacket, but fail to realize if Shedeur played 2 series, I think the numbers was he would have been 3 of 9 for 30 yards and a punt with 2 series. So I tell people, temper the hate down. The kid got down. I mean, it was excellent. To me, it was somewhat of a masterclass for a rookie. I thought it was awesome. That one pass that he threw to Jefferson. Jefferson should have came over a little bit more. Jefferson stopped. He sat down at the wrong spot. That was on Jefferson right there, hands down. But I'll hang up, man. I love the show, man. I told you guys got a fan for life over here. As long as they keep this line up right here, I'm going to rock with y'all instead of the other side of town. All right, man. And Huntsville, keep your mouth off Nashville.
Thank you for the call. By the way, okay, before we go to break,
I have no idea what that
a couple of
means.
things. It's Hopkinsville, not Huntsville, but Gorilla, thank you for letting us know. We have a text from the other Dustin from Hopkinsville who disagrees with the other Dustin from Hopkinsville.
Wait a minute, we got 2 Dustins.
This take
Yeah.
makes the Dustins in Hopkinsville look bad. And on the other side, the other Dustin from Hopkinsville is on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Let's
Dustin,
go.
make it quick. Let's hear it.
Hey, this is the Dustin from Hopkinsville.
Okay.
This is the one with the hot Jared takes, all right?
All right,
So
Dustin.
we're not Debbie Downers. We're realists. We know who the Titans are. We remember we picked Cam Ward, okay, in a draft with some mediocre quarterbacks, all right? So until he does something really great, flashy, I'm going to be mid on him because I'm not getting my hopes up. I know the Titans. I say it all the time. If Ward succeeds, I blame him. I pray to God this is the year. I pray to the good Lord that Cam Ward is our savior. But, guys, I'm telling you, I don't see it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dustin.
Some Titans fans, they have this, what do I call it? Goodness. They suffer from like,
They're defeatist.
yeah, they're suffering
Fatalist.
Ding.
because
I don't have the bell.
Titans have been so like bad the last 3 years that in their minds now, no matter who they get with this coaching staff, this regime, it's not going to work out. That's what some fan bases, that's what's a part of the fan base. I'm not saying it's a big part, but we talked about this weeks ago. That is it so much? And I asked the question, is it that you don't believe in a quarterback or you don't believe in the franchise developing a quarterback? Which one is it? Because Dustin, the Dustin from Hopkinsville, it sounds like he just don't believe in a franchise.
Right. It sounds like it's not about the person Cam
Exactly,
Ward. It's
yeah.
about whoever they were going to put in that chair as the number
Mhm.
1 pick. It's a fatalist attitude. So just out of curiosity, Adam, what does Bizarro Dustin have to say? The other guy.
Well, we'll get to all of
Okay,
that.
okay.
I just want to say something quickly before we go to break.
Mhm.
To Dustin and all of you out there who feel like Dustin, I am not saying you shouldn't be realistic. The Titans have given you little reason to feel optimistic over the past few years. All I am saying is that I am not prepared to make a declarative statement about Cam Ward based on 2 preseason series. That's all I'm saying. But if you want to feel the way you do, I am not discounting your feelings, despite the fact that I'm sort of teasing you. But you are more than welcome to have those feelings. 615-737-1025. We will continue to take a reaction because, boy, we have a lot of it because I'm just picking fights with people in the text line. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Ving at 1025 The Game. This week's Nashville's Best Deal is Fat Bottom Brewing Company. Join Fat Bottom this Saturday for their Lucky 13 anniversary party at 844th Avenue North in Nashville. It's a full day of casino-themed fun, live tattoos from Black 13, face painting, balloon art game, and of course, ice-cold beer. Get a $100 gift card half off while supplies last at theGameNashville.com/deals. Plus, don't miss their lucky 13th anniversary party this Saturday at Fat Bottom Brewing Company. Quickly, Matt on our text line says, what is happening in Hopkinsville? Is Dustin the go-to name up there? Another texter texted in and said, I believe his name was Will. His name is Will in Hopkinsville. He just wants to acknowledge the fact that he's from Hopkinsville. He has no opinion on the game.
Okay, Will. Keep listening.
Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Stand up. We love you up in Hopkinsville. Thank you for listening to us.
Has anybody from Huntsville called in to take issue with Gorilla?
Because he threw a shot at Huntsville.
He threw a shot at Huntsville, which was intended for Hopkinsville.
Exactly.
Huntsville caught a stray. Gorilla was aiming for Hopkinsville, and he missed wildly and struck Huntsville.
He had one of those turning arrows. It just turned on you.
Yes.
That's going in the opposite direction.
We've got a lot of reaction on Cam Ward. So let's go to your phone line right now at 615-737-1025. Let's start with Lance in Clarksville. Lance, thank you for waiting. Please go ahead.
Well, the thing that I took from that game the most was that the offensive line actually allowed Cam to perform. Now, he performed like a rookie. He made a few mistakes, but all in all, he looked good, but he wasn't on his back. So you didn't see our quarterback go on his back, if I remember right, until the backups came in. So I was proud of the offensive line, which allowed Cam to show some things. Yeah, he's got ways to go. And then the second thing is, did Jared move to Hopkinsville and change his name to Dustin?
Thank you for calling, Lance.
We can't confirm or deny that.
Oh, boy.
Can't confirm or deny
But
that.
to his point, Cam Ward was not pressured at all, at least according to Pro Football Focus. And he had an average time to throw of 3.04 seconds. He did have some time back there. Again, disclaimer, backups, I understand. But it was Peter Skoronski, Dan Moore, and J.C. Latham, correct?
Yes.
Were the starting offensive linemen. Rupchich and Corey Levin were the backups. No Zeitler, no Cushenberry, although Lloyd Cushenberry has been activated from the PUP list. Let's go to James in Ashland City on our phone line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. James, thank you for calling and waiting. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention the offensive line, but he made a great point. The offensive line, I don't know if that was all starters or not, but they looked really good for camp. And all this defeatist crap we were hearing about it, I understand it. You know, when you've not had a really decent quarterback, you know, Ron Tannehill was okay, but you've not really had a great quarterback since Steve McNair. Naturally, you're going to feel that way. But I think Cam's going to be just fine as long as the offensive line continues to improve. This guy's going to be all right. But guys, let me ask you a question. Why didn't the franchise go out and try to sign a veteran to back up? Because a previous caller did hit on something that's very concerning to me. If Cam does go down, there's nothing but cotton candy behind it. Well, I mean, why wouldn't we sign Joe Flacco or Jake Browning or some proven veteran? That I think, first of all, Jake Browning's the best backup out there. I don't know if he was a free agent or not.
He was not. He was not.
All right, but why wouldn't you make a trade for him? The guys behind him are terrible. I'll just let you comment on what I just said. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, James. Well, let's describe Jake Browning the way that
Flacco
James
is
said.
still
The best
with
backup in
Cleveland.
the league. Well, why would the Cincinnati Bengals willingly give up the best backup in the league?
They wouldn't. And Brandon Allen was Jake Browning before Jake Browning. He was the backup to Joe Burrow. So that was the idea of Brandon Allen. I think it's clear that Allen has physical limitations when you watch him. We've watched him in practice now. We saw him in that game. He doesn't have a rocket of an arm. He does know the offense, but we do have to temper our expectations. I think sometimes we have an inflated sense of what a backup in the league looks like. There are exceptions, right? The laundry list, and we went through them last week, of the really good backups in today's NFL, like Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew. I think Browning, based on what he did, Browning would not have been on that list had it not been for what he did a couple of years ago when Burrow went
Browning's
down.
Next step
and he
did
really
well. Quarterback.
Yeah. But to your point, Adam, nobody's trading you a good backup if he's a backup because he's their backup.
Exactly.
And what would you give up, right? The Titans need draft picks. They don't need to be trading draft picks for a backup quarterback.
Correct. Let's go to Mike on our phone line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. Mike, thank you for calling and waiting. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to leave a comment about Cam on his first game.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yep. I don't give him an F and I don't give him an A. I think it was 5 for 6 for 57 yards or whatever. They're kind of slowly metering him in, but I just want to make sure everybody understands the Tampa Bay did not have any starters on the defense, and so just let him meter in because we don't have, like the previous caller said, we don't have a backup quarterback. So we got to make sure he's protected by the offensive line. But I guarantee in the AFC South, all those linebackers, the first stringers and edge rushers they got an X painted on Cam's chest or back. So let's be careful here. Let's not give him an F. Let's not give him an A, and meter him in slowly.
Thank you for the call, Mike. I'll tell you an important lesson I learned in college. C's get degrees.
Hey, just got to pass. Listen, I get it. That you don't want to be overzealous or, make it seem like he just won a Super Bowl. But in order to entrust him in more, he has to take care of the small things that you entrust in him. And that was game one. You entrusted game one in the plays that you ran for him. He did well. Did he get an A? No. He wasn't even close to failing, but did he get an A? No. Now you go back and you reevaluate the film. Now you can entrust him in more. Why? Because he did some of the things that you wanted him to do. You know that he's a rookie. And from what I'm gathering from what they're saying, he doesn't make the same mistake twice. So if that's the case, that's why I said next game will be a little bit better, because if a defense fools him once, I want to see in, 3 series later, if he runs that play or if they run that defense, will they fool him again? If they don't, then that's all I want to see, people. This is not about, he's going out there and wowing everybody. They've given him a handful of plays, a lot of them. They asked him to go out there for 2 series and run this offense the way it needed to be ran. And I think he did that. The 3 and out, yeah, he could have hit the guy coming across a tad bit earlier, but that's a part of it. But they entrusted him with 2 series, and he scored on 1. That's all we're asking. The next game, we can reevaluate him again. This is all about quarters, people. He did okay this quarter. Next quarter is the next game. And hopefully he can get better from the things that he didn't, connect on this past game.
Okay, one more time. I'm going to indulge Dustin from Hopkinsville one more time, because I think this is a good way to bookend this hour. And we will continue to take your reaction all show long at 615-737-1025. What tells you Cam is going to be fine? He was the best quarterback out of terrible quarterbacks in the draft. Under 55% completion in 200 passes in practice. What tells you he's going to be great? Now I'm about to answer this question, and this phrase is taboo in our society, but I'm going to do it. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not afraid to say, I don't know if Cam is going to be a great NFL quarterback or not. How many great college quarterbacks have failed at the NFL level?
Over 50%.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. So I know that Cam Ward was, by all accounts, the best quarterback in a mediocre at best quarterback class. So I cannot tell you right now, Dustin, or anybody listening right now, that Cam Ward is going to be a great NFL quarterback. And frankly, anybody who says definitively right now that Cam Ward is going to be a great NFL quarterback or not is lying to you, because he has played 2 series in a preseason game in the NFL. So again, I know it's taboo in our society, especially in this line of work, to say, I don't know, but that's what I'm going to say to answer Dustin's question.
But I will say this, the completion percentage in practice means absolutely zero to this point.
Yeah.
615-737-1025. Since you guys were just such great sports in that hour, I'm going to reward you. Do you want to see Rod Stewart this week? 615-737-1025. Be caller number. Derek, give me a number. 5.
76. Isn't that how old Rod Stewart is?
He's 80.
Oh, he's 80.
And
Sorry.
David would be on the phone for 2 hours.
Okay.
Exactly.
So maybe 8?
Well, no, we'll do 5.
Okay, we'll do 5.
Caller number 5 at 615-737-1025 will win a pair of tickets to see Rod Stewart this Thursday night at Ascend Amphitheater. Again, caller number 5, 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
Derek Mason here, and if you've injured yourself in a motorcycle accident, go to lawtigers.com for your free case evaluation. Even if your accident was months ago, you have nothing to lose by calling Law Tigers for your free case evaluation. Insurance company wants to pay out as little as possible, or better yet, nothing at all. Law Tigers make sure you get the compensation you deserve and doesn't get paid until your case has been settled. They understand how much your bike gear is worth to you, so they will help you get it all repaired, or better yet, replaced. Law Tigers is the resource the motorcycle community turns to when in need. So whether it's to support an event or if they see you broken down on the side of the road, with Law Tigers, you'll never ride alone. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or visit lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is powered by Freeman and Fusen, and you can find them in Nashville at 2126 21st Ave South. Law Tigers, Tennessee's motorcycle lawyers.
D-Mace, Finnegan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. Normally, we would have Teron Davenport of ESPN.com at 4 o'clock, but he was on with Jake Lyman on Next Man Up this morning. So we will have Teron Davenport on tomorrow. Time TBD, but we will have Teron Davenport, just not right now as we usually do on Mondays at 4 o'clock. But when we do have Teron Davenport, he is presented by Bart Durham Injury Law. So the Tennessee Titans, they lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 29-7. Who cares? Score doesn't matter. It's preseason. Cam Ward, 5 for 8. I was about to say 58. 5 for 8, passing 67 yards, a passer rating of 89.1. And one thing that was incredibly encouraging on Saturday in the two series we saw from the starting offense, Derek Mason, was that Cam Ward has developed some chemistry with Calvin Ridley. Remember at this time last year, we were talking about how Will Levis and Calvin Ridley could not get on the same page. Well, on that second drive, Cam Ward had 3 completions to Calvin Ridley for 50 yards with a long of 27. All 3 targets to Calvin Ridley were caught by Calvin Ridley. That is an incredibly encouraging sign. I want to talk to Derek about the passes that Cam Ward made to Calvin Ridley. But, Derek, just to see Calvin Ridley and Cam Ward on the same page, considering how much of an issue it seemed to be last year for Will Levis and Calvin Ridley, that was an encouraging takeaway for me from Saturday.
Yeah, it was, because last year this was sort of the talking point in camp, and so much so that I was surprised that people were saying, "Well, they'll get it together," and even Calvin Ridley was saying, "We'll be fine." And I'm thinking, like, no, you're not. That's not. It doesn't happen that way. And Calvin knows it better than anybody. It doesn't. If you're missing like that consistently, then the timing isn't down. Now, whether it's the quarterback's fault or that's a whole different issue, but the timing wasn't there. You see the timing here, it's gotten better. It didn't start off great. And I didn't expect it to start off, great, because Cam is still getting used to everybody, their speed, their body movements, and everything else. But it has gotten a lot better. We've seen connections. I'm gonna go back to the last practice here in the 7-on-7. And the 2-minute, Cam Ward was hitting Calvin Ridley down the field. It was pinpoint passes to Calvin Ridley. I think he and Calvin Ridley are building a bond, which they are going to need. I went through this same thing. This is why I could speak on this so intently. I went through the same thing with Joe Flacco. He needs a Calvin Ridley, meaning Cam Ward. He needs a guy like Calvin Ridley. He needs a guy that's going to be where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there. He needs a guy that's going to catch the ball. He needs the guy that's going to make that play when the play it needs to be made. And Calvin seems to be more comfortable in the offense this year than he was last year. So they need to continue to work on their chemistry, because he's going to be his go-to guy. Make no mistake about it, because as much as I like Van Jefferson, and as much as I think, Lockett still has something in him, unfortunately, when people look at the Titans, unless those young guys start to really push those, people look at the Titans receiving core as just okay.
It's old.
It's old and it's okay. But even with that, they have an opportunity to go out there and prove them wrong. And so I'm not going to sit here and say that this is a bad group. It's not enough guys that have proven outside of Ridley and Lockett. I know Van Jefferson has been in the league 6 years, but it's been up and down with him. If they don't find someone else outside of Calvin Ridley, it's going to be hard for their offense in the passing game. But make no mistake about it, he's going to be Cam Ward's number one option.
I'm looking back through the Bengals blueprint. Joe Burrow struggled. The team struggled his first year. Then they got him Jamar Chase the next year, and they were much more in a position to win.
Yeah, because they only had one guy. They had not Green. I was about to say AJ Green, But what's the kid?
I'm not even sure. They had Tyler Boyd,
Yeah,
I guess.
no, Tyler Boyd and
T. Higgins?
T. Higgins was there. T. Higgins got there a year before, I believe.
Okay, well, let's look. Let's take a look at Joe
I think he got there a
Burrow's
year before.
receivers the first year as opposed to the second. But that would be a good, still a good analogy.
Yeah, it would be.
You have you have something, right?
Uh-huh.
My biggest concern is surrounding Cam Ward to where they can shield him from just going off the rails, having no help whatsoever. It's a thin roster, and we can't get around that. That 29-7, as you said, the score doesn't matter, but they were badly outplayed as a roster by a team that didn't play their starters at all. So it shows you that they got a long way to go in supporting Cam Ward while Cam Ward develops, and hopefully he can then mask issues on a roster, right? You hope that he can get to that point where he's picking up the rest of the roster. But right now he needs support. And so I think the receivers hopefully can mesh well and be more than the sum of the parts, because they need more than what they have right now. But in the future years, that's when you try to get him a Jamar Chase type of guy.
So I don't think this is Willie Donick texting in, but here's a text that sounds just like what Willie just said. From one texter, Cam did just fine. What concerns me most is our depth or lack thereof. I have zero confidence that our backup quarterbacks can lead the team if Ward gets injured or needs to rest. Our backups could not put up points or get off the field against the Bucs backups. I hope it's just early and we will see improvement, but I have little faith that any of our depth can step up and compete against starters when their number is called, whether a starter is injured or not.
Well, this is what I said about this roster. If they have to go 23 deep with 20, if they have to go past 22 or 23 players, there's going to be it's like falling off a cliff with their roster, and they understand that because you have a bunch of guys that are on that other side that's not proven, that have had enough snaps. Can they be good? Yeah, they can, but they just haven't had. This is a roster that is depleted of talent. It's young, but it's depleted of talent. The top end is older. So you're right when you call in or say, yeah, I'm worried about the Titans. The Titans are worried about the Titans.
Yes, they are, because everybody gets guys hurt too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the scary part about Snead. Who knows when Snead's going to play? Like, it was very ominous that what they were saying on the Zoom yesterday. He's like, I'm not quite sure. Like, they're hoping Cushenberry could be ready for week 1, but they're not sure. But these are the things that by the time November rolls around in December, a thin roster usually gets exposed, and now you're really going to have trouble surrounding Cam Ward with the support he needs. The 2020 Bengals had Tyler Boyd, I would say, in his prime, 26 years old. They had a very young T. Higgins at 21 years old. My goodness.
Yeah.
He's only 21. And he had a good year. And they did have an aging A.J. Green who still could provide some support. So they did have something around Joe Burrow as a rookie, and they weren't a very good team.
I found this interesting on Pro Football Focus. They do recaps of every preseason game, what to watch for. You guys tell me what you think about what they wrote about the wide receivers. Quote, the 3 veterans played the entire first quarter, meaning Ridley, Lockett, and Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 veterans played the entire first quarter, and the 2 rookies, DK and Iamander, worked in a little bit during the end of Cam Ward's time in the game. The team largely stayed in 11 personnel. Jefferson was the X receiver, Ridley was the Z, and Lockett aligned in the slot. All 3 primarily played the Z receiver role with their respective teams last season, but this was their most likely usage based on their past. When the team moved to 12 personnel, Ridley and Jefferson were the 2 receivers. 2 of Iamander's snaps came as the lone receiver in 13 personnel, while another 2 were in Ridley's place. DK's 1 snap was in Lockett's place. Once the backups entered the game, Iamander continued to primarily play the Z receiver role, and DK was in the slot, while Bryce Oliver became the new X receiver. While many thought Jefferson would be the most likely veteran of the 3 to get benched, he is also the veteran who has the least competition from a rookie based on how they lined up. We should see the 2 rookies play some snaps each week, but it might be some time before one of the rookies starts in this offense.
I mean, and I understand, what was written about him, and it's right. I mean, this receiving core, the top 3 guys, they have experience. The top 2 guys have a lot of experience, But then behind that, they really have no experience. You got James Porcher, who's been a journeyman, sort of speak. Mason Kinsey, who hasn't cracked, the opening day roster many times, or the roster many times. You got Bryce Oliver, who can play, but just his chances are slim. Jaquan Jackson seemed to fell out of favor with the team. Restrepo, that 4'8" is going to haunt him forever. Matt Landers is another guy that 6'5", you may be able to get some out of him. TJ Sheffield, nothing. So I gave you all of those names to tell you, behind those top three, you have nothing. No one that has proven themselves. Not to say that they can't. I want people to understand
right.
that
You got to
too.
hope that you find
exactly.
something
But right now, they don't have, and they may, if no one really, because they're hoping these two rookies, at least one of them, that they really step out in preseason so they can go into the first game of the season with these guys on an opening day roster, which they both will be, but the guys that are going to be active on a Sunday. You can be on the opening day roster, but they may not have you active. So these guys, two of these guys, or one of the two, I'm talking about the young guys, they have to prove themselves, and maybe the coaching staff may have to go out of their way to give them more snaps with Cam Ward.
One texter says, DK had some encouraging moments. Manor was nearly invisible and didn't seem to be able to get separation regardless of who was throwing the ball to him. Going to need more. Derek, do you agree with that?
Yeah, they're going to need more. It's plain and simple. But
would you say he was unable to get separation?
I wouldn't say that.
He looks a little slow to me, Manor. At least he did. But honestly, the whole team did on Saturday. It looked like they had trouble with the footing.
Mm-hmm.
The whole defense looked a step slower than
there
Bucs.
were concerns about the field condition.
Yes.
I know that might be an excuse.
The Bucs didn't have a whole lot of problem with
that. That is fair.
But I do think DK looks quicker to me.
Mm-hmm. DK is the faster of the two, I believe. That's the kid out of Florida.
If I recall correctly,
yeah,
DK ran one of the fastest 40s at the combine.
Yeah, so he's the fastest out of the two. So you can't compare those two guys, because one guy I think ran like a 4.3.
They're very different styles.
Yeah,
right?
they're different styles. They got to find a way.
DK ran a 4.34.
Yeah, so
at the combine.
Pretty fast. So they just got to find a way to get these young guys some more snaps, whether it be in the game or in practice, more so in practice, so you know what they can handle once they get in the game. I don't think you can throw them out there and give them 40 snaps in the game and you haven't put them in, in those situations in practice. So I hope to see more of these two young guys and some more of Bryce Oliver and Jaquan Jackson. I thought James Porcher has done okay, but how far of the depth chart is he going to go?
I'll throw this out, what we threw out last week. If by the end of the year, or hopefully towards the middle of the year, either DK or Manor could pass either Jefferson or Lockett.
And that's what they're hoping.
That's what you want, right? That's what you want. You hope that Lockett, who is not anything, he's not a long-term solution. You're hoping that Lockett is a steady vet that can be the placeholder until you get something better there. Same with Van Jefferson, even though he's a little younger. He's 29. He could be on the team for a little bit. He's not super expensive, but you hope that you can upgrade there. So you hope those guys are placeholders, and you hope that, like, realistically, are they both going to shoot past those guys? Probably not. They're fourth-round picks, right? If they were first-round picks, you'd have a higher expectation. But if one of them could break through, that would be a start. And really, that's what you're looking for throughout the roster.
By the way, Manor ran a 4.44 40, which is actually faster than they anticipated. So DK was a 4.34. Manor was a 4.
But as D Mace will tell you, the 40 time at this point really does not mean much. It's, can you play quick? Can you get open? Do you look
play
quick
fast?
Yeah.
Do you play fast? And they're just hoping that one of these young players, I know they would prefer Manor or DK, but they're going to have to start, see what they got in Jaquan Jackson, Bryce Oliver, because again, I think James Porcher will make this roster unless this thing goes sideways for him, because he's a good return guy. He had a good return. I know it was a penalty, but he had a good return in the game. But how far up the depth chart as far as receivers will he go? Maybe a 4, more than likely your 5 because he's on special teams. They need someone that they can give 30 plays to. And we're not talking about just run plays.
Josh on our text line says, Gunnar Helm, tight end 1. Well, Chigakonkwo played every snap with the starters. So Chigakonkwo, at least for now, firmly in tight end 1. I don't know how I feel about that, but Chigakonkwo looks to have the starting job. By the way, Josh Wiley, I don't think Josh Wiley is going to be on this roster when there's no first cut down, right? Now there's just one
I
cut
think
down.
they do it all in one swoop.
Right.
Now.
So I don't think Josh Wiley is going to be on this roster right now. I think he's behind David Martin Robinson. Jordan in Nashville says 3 things. Cam looked good, but it's only 2 drives. So let's see more and hope it still looks okay. Let me start that again. Blah. 3 things. 1, Cam looked good, but it's only 2 drives. So let's see more and hope it still looks promising. Hey, I think that's a measured take, Jordan. Good for you. 2, the Titans need another legitimate proven running back to go with Pollard. Not mad at Spears, but he can't stay on the field and isn't giving enough to prove his worth, in my opinion. Hold that thought, Jordan, because that's what we're going to talk about next. 3, this might be spoilers, but will you all be talking about the bad play of the defense? The secondary looked horrendous and nothing that impressed on the edge. We also will be talking about the defense, but we will talk about Jordan's point number 2, Tajay Spears. We will do that next. Tajay Spears suffered a high ankle sprain in the loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
High ankle sprain.
Yeah, that's
bueno.
no good. But yet another injury for Tajay Spears. Can the Titans trust Tajay Spears, who is out for the remainder of the preseason? We will discuss that next. 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This September, Tim McGraw will be performing at Trinetics's Rock the Cradle in Nashville, a meaningful event supporting newborns and moms at Ascension St. Thomas Midtown. Get your tickets now at rockthecradlenashville.org. D-Mace Vinganadonic 1025, the game. By the way, one texter suggests that we change the name of our show from D-Mace Vinganadonic to Dustin versus Dustin, which is DVD.
Let's go. Dustin on Dustin crime.
I want to know if the two Dustins from Hopkinsville have run into each other at one point. I don't know how.
Do they know each other?
I don't know how big Hopkinsville is. I'm sorry to say that I've never been to Hopkinsville. I'd be happy to go there sometime. I don't know if it's a big place and you can easily run into the other Dustin. I don't know how many Dustins from Hopkinsville there are, but they both listen to our show. So
I'm
you
sure
know what?
they know each other.
You know what, Dustin and Dustin, we appreciate both of you, even if you can't agree on the Tennessee Titans. So, as we said before the break, Tajay Spears is expected to be out for a few weeks, according to Brian Callahan. Suffered a high ankle sprain during the loss to the Buccaneers on Saturday. He will not play for the remainder of the preseason. As our friend Teron Davenport notes, Spears missed 5 games last season because of 2 concussions, an ankle sprain, and a hamstring injury. So a injury-riddled season for Tajay Spears. The Titans have been talking about, even before training camp, in the offseason, about how they wanted Tajay Spears to take some of the carries away from Tony Pollard to have a more balanced rushing attack. But color me skeptical, Willie, that can happen, considering Tajay Spears can't stay on the field.
It's a shame. We've talked about these guys through the years, whether you go back to, and maybe this guy should give you a little bit of hope, but you remember your teammate Chris Brown,
Yes.
who was Eddie George's backup. He had that reputation for a while, and unfortunately, Tajay Spears has got a ways to go before he gets to Chris Brown production, because Brown was able to have some good years, but it always seemed like he was battling something. But more recently, Farley, Caleb Farley never got on the field. We have talked about Traylon Burks ad nauseum, but unfortunately, it looks like Tajay Spears is getting into this category. Just doesn't have the body that's cut out to play in this league and withstand the rigors. And you can see why they drafted him, even though they knew he had some question marks with his health, right? Remember the whole thing when he was drafted and they were like, "Do you have an ACL?" And he was like, "My knees are fine." Do you have an ACL?
No.
Oh no, my knees are fine.
That,
my knees are fine.
But
and it's not been the knee, right? It's been something else. And now a high ankle sprain. That's the worst
Those are
thing.
tough. Those are tough.
Because he is a cutter. He's an elusive guy that makes people miss, works in space. But that injury lingers. The high ankle sprain lingers. So even when he can get on the field, he's going to be affected by that for weeks after he's even able to function out there. That is not good at all.
By the way, this is back from a few years ago. On CBSSports.com, Ian Rappaport reported on the NFL Network that Tajay Spears suffered 2 torn ACLs in his past. At the NFL Combine, test revealed a full-thickness cartilage loss and no ACL in his knee. Additionally, Spears has arthritis. Rappaport says it's unclear how long he will be able to play in the NFL, and even openly wondered if Spears could be a quote-unquote one-contract guy.
Well, but ironically, it hasn't been that's got him, right? It's other stuff.
It's been a hamstring, concussion, and ankle. Yep.
Yeah, it's he's missed in each of his past 2 seasons. Prior to this one, he's missed time.
He appeared in every game as a rookie.
Yeah,
he missed 5 games last season, right?
But as a running back, you can't, if you're not available with a team that likes running the football, then even with your skill set, you're going to have the coaching staff, forgetting about you. They are, because as good of a player you may be, or you have shown yourself to be at times, the one thing you haven't shown yourself to be is healthy all the time. And at that position, you're going to get nicked up. But can you play through it? Now, I'm not saying he can play through a high ankle sprain, but he's had way too many injuries for the Titans not to have a secondary plan for their backup running back behind Pollard, because, I expect it, and I still do expect, good things from Tajay Spears this year. But if he can't stay on the field, he can't help the team.
By the way, according to Sharp Football Analysis, I don't know when this was updated, the best running back free agents: Gus Edwards, Zach Moss, Jamal Williams, Ezekiel Elliott, Deontay Foreman, among others.
Deontay Foreman.
Among others, yes. So they are out there. Here's something I found interesting on Pro Football Focus. The Titans have made minimal investments at running back outside of Pollard and Spears, as 6th-round rookie Khalil Mullings, who is 5'2", according to the Titans broadcast. He's the 3rd-string back.
That was graphically, right?
Yes.
Just to protect the announcers,
Yes.
because I'm sensitive to this, right?
Yes.
It wasn't something they said.
No,
Is this a graphic?
there was a graphic that said Khalil Mullings, 5'2". So behind Pollard and Spears is Khalil Mullings, who is not 5'2". When Spears missed 4 games in the middle of the season, Pollard saw his playing time increase from 60 to 67% of Tennessee's offensive snaps in most games to 82 to 94% of the offensive snaps. He ran the ball at least 16 times in each of those games, including 2 blowout losses. So the Titans say that Tajay Spears will be ready. Well, they say he won't play in the preseason. They hope that he's ready for the start of the regular season. But
okay, so let's get to the decision here, because unless they bring in one of these guys, which I don't know. What do you think, D-Mace? Because I think we all agree Tony Pollard, even in his best years, was better suited to be one of 2, right? He really flourished.
He broke
alongside
out with the Cowboys that
yes,
way.
alongside of Ezekiel Elliott, right? So you, especially now where he is in his career, he's not a 300 carry guy. You want an assist with him. Can Julius Chestnut or one of these other guys be good enough to be that guy? Because I think at this point you can't count on Spears being there, even if he's healthy enough to come back at some point.
No, you can't. I mean, listen, the problem here is that they got a skill set that they covet that only one person at that position has. Tajay Spears. He's the only person that has what you covet. Tony Pollard doesn't even have it. And Tony Pollard's a really good runner.
Which is what?
Catching the ball out the backfield, being able to line you up at slot, posing a mismatch, for the linebackers or the safeties. Things that some other teams may have that I think this offense needs. They have it, but they have it in the one guy that can't stay healthy. I think Julius Chestnut is a good player. I think he's one of these guys that he may be on your roster for the next 3 years, because he's a really good special teams player. And if you put him in a game, he can get you those tough yards. He looked good this past weekend. But Chestnut doesn't bring that element that you need in your offense. The only guy that brings it is Tajay Spears. The problem is he's always hurt. So now they're going to have to go out and get somebody else that can fill that void, because he made that a high ankle sprain. No telling when he's going to be back to full. He may not be back to full go, his feeling himself, until like the second game of the season. Probably even after that.
And you still worry that something else will come up.
Something else may happen. So if they want this type of player in their offense, they're going to have to go out and get that player just in case Tajay Spears can't go the whole season.
One texter says, Ron says, I thought he, meaning Spears, would be more like a CJ Spiller type.
Yeah, but he can't give that to him when he's not on the field. Now, listen, when the kid is going, he's good. We've seen it. He's a good player. But if you can't stay on the field, just because you're a good player ain't doing nothing for me. If you can't stay on the field, I can't use you. I don't care how good you are. That skill set that we need on offense, you can't give it to us because you're always injured. So we're going to have to go out and get somebody, and it may cost you your job. Seriously.
One texter suggests the Titans bring in Zach Moss. Zach Moss was released by the Bengals a couple of weeks ago. He started training camp on the non-football injury list after suffering a season-ending neck injury last season. In 8 games last season, he rushed for 242 yards and 2 touchdowns while splitting reps with Chase Brown. But Zach Moss had his breakout season with the Indianapolis Colts 2 years ago, had 183 carries for 794 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. He actually had 27 receptions for 192 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he was released because he has a neck injury.
Yeah.
So I would stay away from
I think
replacing.
we need to see the medicals.
Yes.
We need to see the medicals. But he
Yes.
has had a certain amount of production in
Mhm.
the league, and he's 28, right?
Yeah,
He will be 28 during the season. He'll turn 28 in December. So
well, that's that neck injury. Nope, don't want to touch it. See you later.
not even a tryout.
Go
Take the physical.
Prove to somebody else you can play, and then we'll pick you up the next season.
But it is a skill set from what I know about Moss, and I don't know that much, but I've seen him play, right? We've been around the league. Is it somewhat similar to Spears? Like, could he complement Pollard in that respect? In a perfect world.
I have not even.
But you're exchanging one set of medicals for another set
of medicals. And I know Moss because obviously what he did to the Tennessee Titans. He ran crazy over the Titans, didn't he? In that one game, I think he did. He ran crazy over, and he didn't even catch the football. So I don't remember him
the
as
one
a
really
pass
long
catcher.
run, right? The one back-breaking run.
Exactly. I don't remember anything out of the ordinary.
23 carries for 165 yards
There you
and
go.
2 touchdowns.
He blitzed them. So he didn't do anything, I don't think, in the pass game. So I think about him more so running the football, which they have Julius Chestnut if they want another power back. But because they have essentially 3 power backs and one guy that can be versatile, that one guy that is versatile is always hurt.
That was the game that Anthony Richardson got hurt early in the game. And the Titans were not able to win with Minshew in there. That was a very frustrating afternoon.
To say the least.
One texter back to our tight end conversation says Chick is going to be way better without Levis throwing at his heels and the hot chick in the 3rd row. Helm is still going to be the next Kelsey/Gronk in the NFL, though.
Oh
okay. Man.
I hope so.
Scorching hot take. My computer is overheating reading that text message from that texter.
I hope so.
It is hot outside, but even that is a scorching hot take. But yeah, when it comes to Tajay Spears, it's unfortunate because I think he has shown promise in a limited role, but that high ankle sprain. If it was just a normal ankle sprain, you're like, yeah, it's fine. Tape it up, put some ice on it. But high ankle sprain, no matter the sport, if you have a high ankle sprain, even when you're clear to play, you're still not. Right.
It happened to Ryan Tannehill when they were 7-3, and then famously did not win again. And in the midst of that, John Robinson lost his job. That's what he had, and he came back early. He tried to play on it. He wasn't the same. Yeah, and it was a nightmare.
Tajay Spears, he's this type of player are players you just hate. Not like hate him, but you hate the player like this that has so much talent, and when he's on the field, he's showing you that he can be a vital part. But then when you go back to your office and you're getting ready to write up plays for him, the trainer comes in and says he's not available this week. And you look at all this stuff you done wasted 35, 40 minutes, maybe even an hour on, and like, damn, I ain't gonna be able to use none of this. Those are the type of players you just don't like because you see that it's like you're salivating over using it, but you can't use it because it's always broke.
So I'm thinking about those old cartoons when they used to put the pie on the windowsill and the smoke, the aroma from the pie used to find the cartoon character who would flutter up to the pie, but then the pie would be taken. So Tajay Spears is the pie?
Yes, basically.
Tajay Spears is the pie. One texter says, get Breece Hall from the Jets. I mean, I wish. I'm a huge Breece Hall fan.
Goodness.
I wish. Yeah. I don't think.
Well, how does he propose you get Breece Hall?
Exactly.
Let us know. 615.
Please.
You got an insight on that one?
Yeah.
615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com with the news that Tajay Spears is injured again with a high ankle sprain. Should the Titans look around at free agent running backs? Should they hope and pray that Tajay Spears will be fine in just a number of weeks? Do you trust Khalil Mullings despite the fact that he might be 5'2", which he's not? 615.
Is Mullings ahead of Julius Chestnut? Do we think?
That's a good question.
No, he can't be.
Like
No.
if you played a game on Sunday, Chestnut would be
Yeah,
the
Chestnut.
compliment to Pollard
Exactly.
for now,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
At least I don't know. Like I want to see more of Mullings, but we've seen Chestnut for a while now.
I like Chestnut.
It's not bad.
I think Chestnut's a good player.
We've
That's
seen
his
a
name.
lot of no-name running backs. If you have a scheme that can block a little bit, a decent runner can do a job for you.
Deontay Foreman was I would
Right.
call a no name. Who was the other one?
Well, once upon a time, I don't think I had heard of DeAndre Foreman. He ran the
Deontay
ball pretty well
yeah.
for the.
Ooh, yeah,
who
he
was
did.
the other one they had around that same time? It wasn't Deontay Foreman. It was
Well, they had another guy. It was another DeAndre. Oh, no, I couldn't think of him. I'll think of it.
Either
number 40.
Dontrell Hilliard.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's right.
But
Hilliard
he
and
was more,
Foreman
he was
together
more of the
did
Tajay
okay.
Spears.
Yeah.
Hilliard
he's
was more the Tajay,
more of a
Tajay
receiver,
Spears.
quicker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on that, but also I just have to ask this very important question. Is the Titans defense going to stink again? We'll talk about that next. 615-737-1025. Willie Darnick, Derek Mason, Adam Ving at 1025 The Game.
Hey, this is Derek Mason, and you heard me tell you about Dr. Lodge and his staff over at Cool Springs MD for some time. If you set out to lose weight, chances are it's not your first time setting a resolution to shed some extra pounds only to face disappointment. But I got some good news because at Cool Springs MD, Dr. Lodge and his team understands the frustration of this cycle, and that is why they offer a different approach to weight loss. Their comprehensive weight loss program is led by Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and addresses the root cause of weight gain with tailored nutrition, exercise, blood test supplements, and more. They will customize a program specific to you and you only. They did it for me, so they will definitely do it for you. So connect with Dr. Lodge at CoolSpringsMD.com today to schedule your appointment for a personalized weight loss plan just for you. That's Cool Springs MD, where your weight loss journey becomes a success story.
That was Brian Callahan yesterday after digesting the film and finding out that his rush defense is still bad. I appreciate him telling it like it is. Let me just remind all of you again how historically inept the Titans defense was last season. We brought this number out last week. We're going to do it again.
Is it really inept? Like, do we want to go there? Like,
is it not inept?
It's an anomaly.
Okay. Anomaly.
Like one side of the stats is not inept.
Okay. Anomaly.
Right?
Okay. That's
but,
fair.
Okay. But let's hear out the stat and then we'll decide.
Teams that finished an NFL season with a bottom 3 scoring defense and a top 3 total defense, because the Titans, off the top of my head, finished second in the NFL in yards allowed per game, but 30th in the NFL in points allowed per game. Here are the other teams. So, of course, the 2024 Tennessee Titans, the 1960 Chicago Bears, when I believe there were 13 teams in the NFL. So a bit easier to do in 1960. The 1955 Pittsburgh Steelers, and my favorite, the 1943 Steagles. That's right. You heard it correctly. The Steagles. That's when Philadelphia and Pittsburgh combined in 1943 to field a team because a lot of their players were off fighting in World War II.
Well, there you go.
So that is the company. Anomaly is a good word, Willie. That is the company the Titans defense keeps by having a bottom 3 scoring defense and a top 3 total defense in the same season.
Okay, so we know they had issues last year in the red zone. We know they were given a tough draw by the offense a lot of short fields, and they did not always do a great job of holding the field goals, right? But so there are reasons why they gave up so few yards, but let's give them some credit for having some. But they also did not cause a lot of turnovers. I'm laughing because how many times did Charles Davis? He likes to call it. Denard Wilson calls it an extraction, not a turnover, right? If they said that once, they must have said it 7 times, and then they finally got a turnover at the end of the game, and they were very excited.
Sounds personal. He has an extraction.
Yes.
To TMI, Charles Davis.
So okay, the 178 yards. This was a theme of the night. Even if they got backed up by a 10-yard holding penalty, they just come back and run it again. They got anything they wanted. So let's start with not having Sweat and Simmons in there. How much of that is it, and how much of it are you concerned about, D-Mace?
That's what I mean, again, you're right. 167 yards is 167 yards.
You're giving them too much credit. It was 178.
Oh, it's 178. Excuse me. But I would tend to lean on the side of if Jeff and Tavondre Sweat had played, it probably wouldn't have been 167 yards. Now, depending on how long they played, would depend on, what Callahan was thinking. Maybe
like they
in the
did
second
rack
game.
up a bunch of them in the fourth quarter
Exactly.
against
So,
the guys that really aren't going to be on the team, right?
People, this is the mistake that I think sometimes we all make, is you look at the number, but don't look at the context. I know it say 170 some yards, but look at the context of it. Okay. 1, they didn't have Jeffrey Simmons or T Sweat. 2, a lot of these yardage were late in the game, 3rd, 4th stringers. It's going to happen. Am I concerned about their rush defense? Yes, because it was poor last year. But I'm not going to sit here and say, if they would have did this and Sweat and Simmons was on the field, okay, we got a major problem. Even if they gassed them for a few runs, we got some problems, and hopefully it gets better the next game. But they had neither one of those guys, and the bulk of this was done in the fourth quarter. Just people take that just look at the whole picture and not just like a microcosm of what's going on. The number looks bad. I get it. But I want to see those numbers when Jeff and Sweat is out there together. Because I guarantee you, if they play next week, which I expect them to play at least one of them, and while they're in the game, the running game isn't effective, That's what I'm going by. I'm not going by what the Titans get in the third quarter or the fourth. I mean, what the opposing team gets in the third or the fourth quarter. I want to know how much they're rushing for when my two studs are in the middle of the field.
Now, to be fair, the Titans did give up 335 rushing yards to the Indianapolis Colts last season. They gave up 267 rushing yards to the Washington Commanders and 207 yards, albeit in Week 18, against the Houston Texans. They allowed at least 150 rushing yards 5 times last season to the Colts, Commanders, Texans, Packers, and Lions.
And that's what that if they got to play better, if they would have came out, if those two guys were on the field and they were still having the same problems that they had last year, I just said 2 or 3 minutes, I would be concerned. But those two guys are not in there. So when they come back and I see them playing in games, if things don't change, then yeah, we all should be concerned because since they put a shovel in that dirt over there in 1996 or 95 when they started to build that stadium, this organization was built on one of two things: running the football down your throat and stopping the run. So with that being said, last year was a disappointment. If I see it this year with those two guys on the field, then yeah, there is some cause for concern there.
I was hoping to see somebody jump out at me. I'm not as worried about the stats because I think a big chunk, but in fairness, in the first half, they got ran out pretty well. There were several times where they looked slow. Whoever was on the corner or setting the edge was not doing a good job. It got beat
early on.
Got beat around the edge. I don't know if it was particularly him. I did think Oladejo looked mobile to me. He was around the ball a lot. I was hoping to see more. I just was hoping to see somebody flash with a great individual pass rush or a jump in there for a tackle for loss or make a play. And I didn't see that very much. So I'm not excited, especially when I hear, okay, I don't know if Snead's going to be playing anytime soon. There's just a lot of we know they're probably going to have to bring extra guys to get heat on the quarterback. So I don't know. There's a lot of big question marks here. I'm looking for improvement from last year to this year, but I'm not sure.
One texter, by the way, my text line is not loading, but I do remember the text, and I will paraphrase it back to our conversation about Tajay Spears. The texter noted that a lot of running backs with similar playing styles to Tajay Spears have history of injuries. I believe the texter mentioned Saquon Barkley, mentioned Alvin Kamara, mentioned Ezekiel Elliott. How much do you factor that in, the playing style, to the amount of injuries that Tajay Spears has endured in his young NFL career?
I think those three backs, even though they have similar sort of attributes, they are totally different because the kid out of New Orleans is Kamara. He's a much complete back. I love Saquon Barkley, and Saquon is great. But when you're just talking about a complete back, I can't put Saquon out on the edge like I can put Kamara, because Kamara is he's like a wide receiver / running back. He's the only guy that really falls into that category, because the other two don't, even though they can catch the ball out the back. They don't do it like him. He does it the way they used him in New Orleans. It was totally different than the way Saquon has been used and the way Ezekiel Elliott was used. I believe that truly opened him up to more injury.
The texter also mentioned Christian McCaffrey as well.
Yeah, see, Christian McCaffrey, I would say those two guys, he and Kamara, are more closely comparable than the other two. And you see Christian McCaffrey, the same thing. When you throw a running back out there, and not only is he your primary runner, or he's taking at least, more than half of the snaps, but also is giving you're expecting 60 catches from, that wears on you.
Yeah, but those guys, I don't know how we even compare. He's comparing Spears to these guys. These guys are
No, he's saying
workload kind
no.
of
He's
guys.
saying they're the type of player they are. Meaning they can
I have
not
the
only
text.
they can run
Right.
from the backfield, but they
we're
can
talking
catch
about
passes.
all those guys are guys who have been great multi-purpose guys who have put up big years. Tajay Spears hasn't even been able to show that he can stay on the field in a complementary role.
But these guys have been hurt
well,
too.
now that I have the text, the texter said, do you think it's just that style of play that constantly gets him injured? I mean, I know we're talking about Spears, but McCaffrey, Saquon, Zeke, and Kamara all have history with injuries and are all similar style runners.
And that's why I say it's the style. It's not necessarily that you are that player or you have that. It's the style of play. That's why I consider Kamara and McCaffrey more so of the same style than Ezekiel Elliott and Saquon, even though those two guys still can catch the ball out the backfield. But really, there's some of the things you can do with those two, you can't do with the others.
One texter wants to know what's going on with Sweat. Well, he had a tonsillectomy, apparently.
Did you guys ever have your tonsils out?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the Brady Bunch when Cindy Brady had to have the tonsils out?
Probably. I've also never had my wisdom teeth extracted. Speaking of extractions.
I've
never had my wisdom
I had two.
I had them all pulled.
You know what that means? It means I have a big mouth. 615-737-1025.
Has anybody had their tonsils? Because they said the Meatloaf, maybe somebody can text in.
He can't have meatloaf anymore.
Well, I think that's part of it, right? Cindy Brady had to have only the ice cream.
Right.
But basically, he's not going to play this week, right? There's another week where he hasn't practiced yet. Are we worried about that at all?
He had an abdominal injury, I believe.
Yes.
And now he's got the tonsillectomy on top of the ab injury.
So no Meatloaf this week.
We haven't seen our favorite R&B duo.
The opportunity for somebody to stop the run. Somebody.
We haven't seen as coined by Derek, we have not seen our favorite R&B duo, Big Jeff and Enormous Sweat, on the field, coming to a Hopkinsville casino near you. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, in what was billed by the Wall Street Journal as the most meaningful, meaningless NFL game ever, let's talk a little Shedeur Sanders. We'll do that next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D. Mace, Finnegan, and Donick 102.5 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, and Adam Bingen here with you on your drive home. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day and your commute is going smoothly and you aren't yelling at anybody and you're staying calm by listening to us on your drive home. The Tennessee Titans lose their preseason opener on Saturday, 29-7 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cam Ward in 2 series, 5 for 8 passing, 67 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in a rating of 89.1. But that was Saturday. On Friday, we were treated to what the Wall Street Journal, Jason gave the Wall Street Journal, called the most meaningful, meaningless NFL game ever. That was Shedeur Sanders making the start for the Cleveland Browns against the Carolina Panthers. And Shedeur Sanders had an impressive day. 14-23 passing, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He played 9 series for the Browns. An impressive performance, gentlemen, but didn't make a change in the Cleveland Browns depth chart. Adam Schefter, 8 minutes ago, quote, on Cleveland's second depth chart of the summer, here is how the Browns are listing their quarterbacks this week. 1, Flacco. 2, Pickett. 3, Gabriel. 4, Sanders. I thought he might at least be number 3.
He didn't pass anybody?
No, he's back. He's still at 4, I guess. I mean,
Is this the old adage, you cannot lose your spot due to injury?
I guess so.
I suppose, because Pickett and Gabriel are injured and Flacco is old. But Sanders,
DNP, old.
Yes, but Sanders, again, 14 of 23, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions across 9 series. He looked good. He certainly looked good, but it led to a lot of people overreacting about Shedeur Sanders. I believe the one of the sports world's greatest, and by great I mean biggest, not like actually greatest provocateurs, Skip Bayless, found a way onto Twitter and said, every team was wrong for passing on Shedeur Sanders. Look at him, 14 for 23. It was 6. The video, by the way, was like 15 minutes long. I'm sorry that happened, or I'm happy for you. I'm not watching Skip Bayless for 15 minutes. But
you have to sift through
yes,
the extremist takes, because there's plenty of them on both sides. People that want to be right, that he slipped to the 5th round unfairly and he really is that good, or, hey, I told you so, he slipped to the 5th round for a reason. And none of those people can know that one way or the other right now. But I would say this, D. Mace, we have to give him credit for, like, if he had played bad.
Oh yeah.
Then it's going to give more reason for Cleveland to keep him at 4th or 5th on the depth chart, because they do have 5 guys now right under contract. But he had a chance to start because of circumstances, and he made the most of it. He looked good.
Yeah, he did. I'm sure there were, a group of people that, couldn't wait for him to sort of get in and not do so well. And there were a group of people that wanted him to get in and, do exceptionally well. And then there were the people in the middle. I think he went out and did exactly just like Cam Ward, did exactly what Cleveland wanted him to do. He looked poised in the pocket. He looked more like a starting quarterback than I think any one of the rookie quarterbacks that played this weekend. I'm just talking about from a poise standpoint. Now, listen, I didn't watch all the Giants game. I did watch all the Titans game, but, I didn't watch all the Saints game. So even with that, how he looked in the pocket, it seems like he was games ahead already. Like he had already played a game or two. That's how confident and poised he looked. Now, listen, it may change the next game. I don't know. He may not get as many reps, especially now with the first team offense. But he did exactly what I think there were a group of people hoping he wouldn't do, and that's go out there and play well. And now he's put the pressure on Pittsburgh because now he's earned more snaps.
You mean Cleveland?
Cleveland, yeah, okay. Excuse me. Now he's earned more snaps. Now you can't say, we just can't get him no snaps for the other quarterbacks. Exactly.
You look like you're not up to a league standard.
Absolutely.
He's at least like, hey, show me some more.
Absolutely. So he's earned more snaps. Now, whether the Cleveland Browns, it seems like they still got him fourth on the depth chart, but who cares about depth charts? But it's just funny after he plays a game like that, he doesn't get elevated at least to the third. But listen,
it's a
he'll get
lightning
another,
rod.
yeah, he'll get another opportunity.
No matter what they do,
yeah,
there's going to be an extreme reaction all over the place.
If he'd have jumped up to the number 2 quarterback, it'd have been like, ooh, he's coming for Flacco's job.
Right, and it still wouldn't really mean anything yet because, in a couple weeks is when they have to make the decision. Which of the 12 quarterbacks that they have is going to make the roster?
Here is some subtle reaction on social media from Deion Sanders at Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. Oh yeah, what now? Hashtag Coach Prime. I like how he hashtagged his own name in a tweet about his son. Oh yeah, what now? Hashtag Coach Prime. LeBron James, son of Ohio. That young man looking good out there at Shedeur Sanders. Keep going up, head down on the grind, and head high to the most high. And I don't want to hear that it's only preseason BS, because if he was out there not going in, y'all would be on his ass about it. So give credit and grace.
He's right about that one. Yeah, he's true. So it's true. But he's now he's a lightning rod.
Yeah.
When it comes to, if anything's going on with him, I mean, they even talked about, him having an entourage when he came into the building. I don't think that was his entourage. I think that was players. The one guy that had the stick ended up being a guy on the field. I think he was a player. You ain't see that guy that walked in there with that, whatever he had. He was like,
it was is it pronounced scythe?
Yeah, scythe.
Yes,
a scythe.
It's what death carries.
Yeah. So he's walking in there.
The staff with the hook.
Yeah,
with the blade on it.
Yeah, but it didn't have a blade on it.
Oh, like the Grim Reaper kind
of
thing?
Yeah. Yes.
But a guy was walking in with them into the stadium, and it made it seem like he had this huge entourage, and I think he made. They said he was playing his own music.
You never know.
They said he was playing his own theme song coming into the stadium. I don't know if it was true. But they said Shedeur was even playing his rap song. He was playing that as he was coming.
Wasn't that a thing at Colorado? Some report that Shedeur Sanders, when he scored a touchdown, the stadium played his rap song versus the pep band playing the fight song. Wasn't that a thing? Do I recall this correctly?
If you're going to put out a rap song, you might as well get it played when you score.
Derek, there have been some really crappy rap songs, man.
You're right about that.
There have been some really crappy rap songs.
But hey, listen, if you made
released by professional athletes.
I
mean, Shaq has like 5 albums.
Oh, Shaq has some good ones. But if you composed a rap song, put together a rap song, and you wanted to use it on air to be your theme song when we talk about you could do it, man. Go ahead and try it.
Please don't.
I mean, it's not the was it the Icky Shuffle? Was that what was the Super Bowl Shuffle?
Oh, yeah,
well,
the Super Bowl
Shuffle.
Yeah, the Super Bowl Shuffle and the Icky whatever he did.
Something.
Icky slide. It was the Icky Shuffle.
Well, it was the Icky Shuffle, but that was a dance.
Yeah, that was a dance. That wasn't the whole.
That was a touchdown celebration.
You mean
and a really good one.
You mean the Chicago
and Icky
Bears?
Eventually spiked some cold cuts just a few years ago, bringing back the Icky Shuffle.
Yeah, but I
the
mean,
Super Bowl Shuffle was put out there. There were a lot of members of the Bears.
The whole Bear crew.
And they put that out there before they won the Super Bowl, but they backed it up.
That's how good they were. So, I mean, listen, Shedeur Sanders, I think he did a good job. Should it warrant more playing time? Absolutely. Because if his name wasn't Sanders, you would say he deserved more playing time after playing like that with the first unit. But it's, I want to grade all of these, all of the, rookie quarterbacks, whether it was Dart, Milroe, Cam, Shedeur, who else played? Shuck.
Tyler Shuck did
Tyler
play.
Shuck did.
J.J. McCarthy.
But he's not a rookie. I guess he still is a rookie, but
he's not technically a rookie, but he didn't play last.
Did he play any preseason games?
He did get hurt in the preseason last year.
Yeah, I think he did play a preseason game last year or two.
If I recall correctly. By the way, did you know that Deion Sanders released his own album in 1994?
Yes,
Prime time through MC Hammer's
money.
Through MC Hammer's Busted Records by way of Capitol Records.
Must be the money.
Was a cult classic that some can still recite word for word.
Must be the money.
He performed the song while hosting Saturday Night Live. How did I not know this?
You didn't know this, Adam?
I was like 5 years old when it came out.
I mean,
In 1994, he was rapping and playing
Exactly.
2 sports at the major league level.
What can he do? Hashtag Coach Prime. Skyler on our text line. I think what you were about to say, Derek, was that you're grading them all on the curve.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm great. I think all these quarterbacks, did, what their teams wanted them to do for the most part. Obviously, Shadur is going to get most of the attention because of everything that surround him. I don't think it's bad, but because of his dad, he's going to get it or whatnot. But if you look at those quarterbacks, I think for the most part they all did a pretty good job. It's that second game. How do they come back that second game, especially Cam Ward? And we talked about this earlier. How does he come back and not make those same mistakes, even though those mistakes that he made they were not catastrophic, meaning interceptions, but still, I want to see him play more because I know he's going to get repeat defenses, and I want to see how he handles it. Say if they get him the first play on play 18, if you run a play and they run that same type of defense, are they going to get you again? Are you figuring it out? That's what I want to see from him. And it seems like in the 2 series he had, he started to pick that up some.
By the way, Jackson Dart, 12 of 19 for 154 yards and a touchdown. A nice touchdown throw to Lil Jordan Humphrey in the Giants preseason game. I believe they played the Buffalo Bills. Ooh, Bubba from Belmead is on our phone line. I love saying that. Bubba from Belmead is on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Bubba, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I use that term very loosely. Willie knows who I am from calling in on his previous employer, but I just want to add a little bit more fuel to the fire with a caveat. I think Shadur and I think Shadur is going to be the MVP rookie, and I think Cam is going to come in second place, and they're both headed to the Hall of Fame.
Really?
Well.
No. I mean, I'm listening to all these people, NFL Network and all this. I mean, come on, it's an exhibition game. Second and third teamers they're going against. Come on, please. I mean, this week, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the starters will probably play, and then they won't play the last game, I'm sure, for fear of injury. So we'll see you think we'll see most of the starters in the first half?
It does seem like there's
Thanks,
each
Bubba.
year a discussion. Like I feel like the last couple of years there was a trend of let's not play our guys at all. The Bengals in particular are a team that wasn't playing anybody in the preseason games, but they got off to such a bad start. This year they're playing the guys, right? And so Joe Burrow and the Bengals came in and lit it up for a couple series and then took the starters out. But last year they didn't play at all. So I year to year it changes. But customarily, I mean, I do wonder if they'll play Cam Ward more in the second preseason game than they did in the first. I would maybe think that's the case, but you've got 2 practices the next couple of days against the Falcons, and then maybe you'll evaluate after that.
I believe the game is on Friday between the Titans and Falcons. Also keep in mind that the Titans only have 1 home preseason game. So I imagine the Titans may want to get Cam Ward some action in front of the home fans. So keep that in mind as well.
And traditionally, the last preseason game, you don't play the starters very much, right? But maybe it's a rookie and you would
trying to sell tickets to a preseason game. Your only home preseason game.
That's a good question.
Well, depending on what they see, obviously this upcoming game, it will determine how much they play in the fourth game. But to what Bubba said, again, I go back to I understand it, as the game went on, it was second teamers, and even in some respects, as soon as the game started, it was backup guys on defense, going against the Titans in particular, or Cleveland. But I just wanted to see what they did with what they were entrusted with, and they did a good job. I get it, people. Y'all not telling us anything that we don't know. Adam said it at the beginning of the show. Like, we know there were second teamers out there. We know there were third teamers out there. Hell, there may even been fourth teams if a team had got a fourth unit. So we understand that the guys that are out there are more than likely 90% of them are not going to be on your starting unit. But yet and still, if you go out there and they play bad and they're not playing against starters, what are you saying about them? Oh, they don't need to play, So they don't need to start. They don't need to be on the team. I told you he shouldn't be a pick number one. But the guy goes out, both of them, Shador, Jackson Dart, all of them. They go out and they do a good job. Can't we just say they did a good job? Let's wait for the next
we're not
guy.
allowed to be measured when it comes to any of this stuff.
Yeah, you got a point there, but I'm just trying to be rational here. I'm just saying, like, I get it, people. It's against backups. But I would rather that guy play well against backups than to play awful. I've been in it. I understand the sport. I wouldn't want that guy. I don't care if we draft him in the first round, he better dominate the second team. He better have a good game. So when he does, it's like, okay. It's let's keep moving. Let's keep going forward. Let's go to the next task. But don't use going to get second teamers as a bad thing. They're just going out there. They're just running the plays that the offense give them, and they're trying to make the best out of it, and they're trying to move the ball down the field. And Cam was able to do it. Shador was able to do it. Jackson Dart was able to do it. And the other quarterbacks were able to do it at one point.
Let's go to Clay on our phone line, driven by Wilson County, Hyundai.com. Clay, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
First of all, Adam, it was a pleasure to meet you that day at the station.
Oh, thank you. You as well.
Willie, I just wanted to say something else to you about the passing of your wife. I've been so impressed with, at least, in the public eye when you're on the radio and things like that, your attitude and things like that. And because that had to be just totally gut-wrenching for you. And I just wish I had gotten to know Erin better, because things I've heard George say about her, just a lot of people, she was evidently an amazing person. So I've been thinking about you. I just wanted to tell you that, and may she rest in peace.
Thank you, Clay.
Thanks, Clay. Do you have a question, or did you just want to?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to ask my man D what he thought of Cam's performance when he was in the game, and also going into the season. What in the heck do you think the Titans are going to do if Cam was to get hurt? Because late in the game, I think kind of got away, and there was some interceptions, things like that. So behind Cam, it doesn't appear like the Titans have much of a quarterback.
Thanks, Clay.
Thank you, Clay. I think Cam did okay. Can he be better? Should he be better? Does he need to be better? Absolutely, all three of them. But if you're asking, if there was a test, like a pop-up quiz, he passed the pop-up quiz. That's just what he did.
Pass-fail. Was it a pass-fail quiz?
Yeah, it was a pass-fail quiz. It wasn't A, B, or C. It was just pass-fail. And he passed. But he understands he has to get better moving forward, because the next one, it may not just be a pass-fail. There'll be a grade and the explanation underneath it. So he's going to have to get better. The team's going to have to get better. I just wonder how Callahan is going to approach this next game with his young quarterback, seeing what he saw out there this past weekend.
I think getting the ball out quick is the one. If I had to boil it down to one thing I'd like to see based on the practices and that game, is a little bit more of a 1-2, bam. It's out when it's there, right? There's going to be times where he has to extend the play. But I think sometimes I still think, and I hear Brian Callahan harping on this, that the speed of the game, I want to see him get it. Like, you want to see him get to that level in the preseason, because it's only going to get faster in the regular season. And there's going to be some bumps in the road.
615-737-1025. Your thoughts on the performances of the other top young quarterbacks in preseason: Shador Sanders, Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck. And I'm kind of afraid to ask this question, but I liked how we riled up the listeners a little bit earlier. So I'm going to do it again. Did Shador Sanders and Jackson Dart's performances over the weekend make you feel any differently about Cam Ward? Because Sanders and Dart had more big plays. Shador Sanders had 2 nice touchdown throws. Jackson Dart had a nice touchdown throw. Cam Ward did not throw a touchdown. Do Sanders's and Dart's performances make you feel any differently about Cam Ward? And I read something a little bit earlier about the preseason that might make Vols fans a little sad. And we'll do that next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Ving, and 1025 The Game.
Had that, let that echo play out a little bit there. Okay, let's tell you about Loan Pronto, because if you've had a summer in which you're looking around going, man, we got it. What's going on with the economy? What about my finances? Maybe you've got some credit card situations or some other high interest debt that's piling up. You can use your home's equity to help this. If you can access this through Loan Pronto and their rapid equity loan program, you can pay these debts off in days with this Loan Pronto program. You can get cash out of your home's equity. It's yours. You can consolidate your debt down to one low monthly payment and have a better interest rate. So call Loan Pronto for a free instant home appraisal and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A-plus rated business, and it's rated by the BBB that way. And they have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. So your home's equity is yours. Use it to your advantage. You may be in a position to really put yourself on better financial footing. 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
D. Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 1025 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. I'm curious, Titans fans, 615-737-1025. Did the performances of Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart make you feel any differently about Cam Ward? Because Sanders and Dart had more highlight reel plays than Cam Ward did. Keep in mind that Ward played 2 series. Shedeur Sanders played 9 series. I don't know offhand how many Dart played.
But if he threw like 19 passes, right?
He did.
So that would tell you he played quite a bit more than Cam Ward, right?
Yes.
So they had more chances to make good plays, but they also had more chances to make, plays that kind of like we're scrutinizing with Cam Ward, the 2 plays that we've hit on that didn't go well, the one that should have been intercepted and the one where he kind of missed an easy 3rd down conversion. I'm sure you could pick apart a lot of plays that Dart and Sanders had.
I mean, Tommy on our text line says, hell no. Cam played 2 drives, 5 of 8 for 67 looks better to me than 14 of 23. And Shedeur had a lot of terrible throws in playing time. Dart 12 of 19 for 159 looks better, but I'd like to see Cam have 20 attempts and more drives. Greg says the other 2 had more to prove in the first game.
I think they all had a lot to prove. When you're the number 1 overall pick, you damn sure got a lot to prove that you are worthy of that number 1 pick. But I am looking forward to Cam Ward getting more snaps and see how all this stuff evens out for him. Will he get more comfortable in the pocket the longer he play? Will he, sort of revert back to what he's used to? Because he threw the ball fairly well the other night. So I do want to see him get a chance to at least, say get 20, 21 opportunities to throw the football, sort of like those guys did in the first game, which means he's going to play more if that's the case.
Chad says Sanders' numbers through 2 drives were awful compared to Ward. It's not a fair comparison. But I said this as well. You might want to cover your ears, Vols fans, but USA Today has its preseason winners and losers for week 1. I don't know if they're ordered by biggest loser, but the top 2, the first 2 players mentioned under losers, Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Vols fans out there. It says about Milton, since his high school days, Milton's arm strength has sparked Paul Bunyan-esque tales rife with hyperbole. Brian Schottenheimer said last week that the only quarterback he has been around who could compare in that category is Brett Favre. Milton went 17 of 29 for 143 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception against the Rams, a team that holds back its key players and invests little in preseason results, which left plenty of unease about Milton's positioning behind Dak Prescott. On Hendon Hooker, he lost 2 fumbles against the Atlanta Falcons. And according to USA Today, time appears to be running out for the passer to make good on the investment Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes made in him in 2023. I actually did like this quote from Dan Campbell. Hooker was pulled before the first half was over because of the 2 fumbles. Campbell, quote, "You decide you're going to be a runner, you got to tuck it away, man." Dan Campbell on pulling Hendon Hooker. So doesn't look, I mean, how many calls and texts have we taken? Have y'all taken? Hendon Hooker, come on home to Tennessee. Well, I mean, he might be available because he might not end up in Detroit.
Well, he's one of the more unique guys out there because, as we've said all along, he played for so long at the college level. He starts off a lot older and coming off a serious injury. So he kind of needs to make it happen a little quicker. So these games might be more important for him. And by the same token, I find it very interesting what's going on in Indianapolis, because as we pointed out last week, Cam Ward and Anthony Richardson are basically the same exact age.
3 days apart.
They were born 3 days apart. But you have people saying, well, it might be time to move on from Anthony Richardson. He's the same age as Cam Ward. But they're saying, well, he's still making these same mistakes in the 3rd year of his. Well, what did you think you were getting? You got a guy that didn't play a whole lot in college that was going to have a lot to learn. And clearly he's not making fast progress, and he's been hindered by injuries. But you have some people saying it's time to write him off. I do think your age does come into play with some of this. So where does that put Cam Ward? I'm not sure. But in particular with Hooker, I think when you start at a more advanced age, you're expected to develop at a quicker rate. At least you should be, right? Because in theory, you should know more about the game when you enter.
Yeah, but I mean, all these guys are gonna sort of develop in the same way. See, the problem for sort of like guys like Hendon Hooker is he's a year into the NFL. I know last year it was an injury riddled season. Well, he was injured. He was rehabbing the injury from college, so he missed the whole season basically. And now he's coming in essentially as a rookie, but a second-year player. And this is what I talked about, that some people are sort of maybe a little bit worried about a quarterback out of, UT system, is that they don't read the field the way they need to, or it's not like, it's almost like you don't see that offense at all, nowhere in the NFL, but you're running it in college. And then you expect those guys to take all that stuff that they learned and the mechanics and everything.
Is that maybe saying that Nico, despite all of the rhetoric,
he probably did the best thing for his career?
There was something to that?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I think there was. I truly believe it.
Because people weren't buying that story, right? They were saying he's about the money, he's about this.
I think
he
wanted
was
money
trying to
too.
say,
Yeah.
I want to play in a system that's going to
because
develop.
that is not a system that's going to develop you for the next level. That hypo system will win you games in college, and they will always be a top 5, top 10 offense. But even some of the receivers have had their troubles trying to, really find their footing in the NFL. Why? Because you're running into spots. It's a bunch of open space, and a quarterback really don't have to read anything, or he doesn't have to read all but one side. And maybe he's, now you're starting to see it with Hendon Hooker. Now Milton, I mean, come on. His arm's strong. I get it. But he hasn't shown, even in college when he got his opportunity. You remember, he was a high recruit of the University of Michigan, and he ended up transferring.
Yep.
And still didn't win the job from Hendon Hooker. And he finally ended up getting the job after Hooker left. And the offense was what? A high-powered offense, but he didn't develop as a quarterback. And you see it now.
But he did.
He did secure the number one overall pick.
He's a legend in Nashville.
So if Cam Ward turns out to be what Titans fans hope, you can thank Joe Milton. As I said that day, not just a New England Patriot, an American Patriot for landing the Tennessee Titans the number one overall pick. No, off the top of my head, pardon my ignorance, Vols fans, how many Vols players who played for Josh Heupel have gone on to have productive NFL careers?
Hasn't been that many. He's only been at the job, what?
This is his 5th season.
Is it? Has it been that long?
This is his 5th season.
God, it seems like it's only been like 3 seasons, fam.
You're talking about offensive skill players?
Yes.
Yeah. Is Jennings, will Jennings be a part of this?
Juwan Jennings?
Yeah.
No. Jennings was with Butch Jones.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's the other cat that came out last year? 1 went to the Giants, and he still hadn't shown up. He was the Giants' 2nd round pick, and then the other went to, which I liked. I really liked the other receiver. Where did he end up going?
Well, Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah, Jalen Hyatt is I'm talking. He went to the Giants.
He went to the Giants. I haven't heard a lot about Jalen Hyatt since he went to the Giants.
No, maybe he'll pop this season, but last season, no.
I can't think of anybody off the top of my
head. What was the other running back? I mean, not running back.
Jalen Hyatt.
Jalen Wright was the running back, and Dylan Sampson, who just left, right? Mm-hmm. Jabari Small.
No, I can't think of his name. I thought he was the better of the 2 receivers.
So you contend that Josh Heupel, the system that Josh Heupel runs on offense, is not conducive to NFL success.
You don't develop, and I've said this for years. College coaches are not here to develop quarterbacks. They're not. You're here to win football games for me. That's what you're here to win football games for. And if you're that talented, then okay, you'll get a shot at the NFL. And then you kind of go from there. But you are tasked as an individual to develop yourself for the next level. We are here to win games and to get you a degree. Now is really more win games. because you're getting paid now, so we don't care about that other stuff.
Multiple texters.
You should.
Multiple texters have
No,
mentioned.
you're right, Willie. Yes, you should.
Multiple. Cedric Tillman is the
Tillman,
receiver
yes,
that
Cedric
you're-
Tillman. I like Cedric Tillman
Yes.
because I just thought he was a more refined receiver than Jalen Hyatt. I thought Jalen Hyatt was just this is no slight against him, but he was just a one-trick pony. He was just a deep threat, and he did that very well. But in the NFL, you got to be a little bit more than that.
Jalen Hyatt in the NFL in 2 years has 31 receptions for 435 yards and 0 touchdowns.
Yeah, last year, really, he didn't play much. He only had 8 catches last year. His first year was more productive than the second year, which is for some reason. I'm not sure why. Because it doesn't look like injuries, from what I can tell. He was dressed for 16 of the 17 games, according to Pro Football Reference, but only started 3. He started 7 as a rookie. He was only targeted 19 times the whole year last year. Of course, the Giants had some problems last year.
Just a few. One texter said, Matt says, compared to Ward's 3 and out and close calls and second drive, Dart looked like a seasoned pro with full knowledge of the offense. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't watch the Giants preseason game, so I can't tell you how true that is. But again, it's the preseason.
He had a nice play down the field.
To my guy, Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Yeah, he had another play it was more so the run was the big gainer. It was a short pass, and the guy ended up gaining a lot of yards. After that was Yak.
Yakety yak.
Yeah, if you want to call.
We'll
it
be right back.
I think we have history has shown that there are guys that have lit it up in the preseason that you're like, wow, this is really a stepping stone to big things, and it doesn't really materialize in the regular season. But there's always, every now and then, a guy like Dak Prescott who people were buzzing about in the preseason, who was a 4th or 5th round pick, and people are like, I'm telling you, he's good. Like Tony Romo was another guy. Watch out, this guy's looking good. And it turned out that those guys were really good. So it doesn't mean he's not going to shine in the regular season. It's just better to do well than not well in these preseason games, right?
No, you're right.
If you really struggle, then look, you have to worry a little bit.
615-737-1025. We'll wrap up the show by discussing something we saw in the NFL that has never been done before. We'll discuss that next and continue to take your reaction on the Titans preseason opener over the weekend against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
Derek Mason here, and if you've been injured in a motorcycle accident, go to lawtigers.com for a free case evaluation. Even if your accident was months ago, you have nothing to lose by calling Law Tigers for a free case evaluation. Insurance companies want to pay out as little as possible or even nothing at all. Law Tigers make sure you get the compensation you deserve and doesn't get paid until your case has been settled. They understand how much your bike is worth to you and will help you get it all repaired or better yet replaced. Law Tigers is a resource the motorcycle community runs to or turns to when in need. So whether it's to support an event or if they see you broken down on the side of the road. With Law Tigers, you'll never ride alone. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is powered by Freeman and Fusen, and you can find them in Nashville at 2126 21st Ave South. That's Law Tigers, Tennessee's motorcycle lawyers.
Drill the ball. Holy smokes. They got a shot. He just kicked a 70-yard field goal. Are you kidding me? Crazy. I've never seen that. The NFL record. That would be an NFL record. Holy smokes. That's unbelievable.
Cam Little of the Jacksonville Jaguars nailing a 70-yard field goal in the Jaguars' preseason loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers on Saturday night. A kick that would have broken the NFL record had it been made in a regular season game. By the way, that record is held by Justin Tucker, who is persona non grata in the NFL right now. But Justin Tucker had a 66-yard field goal against Detroit in 2021. There have been 8 unsuccessful field goal attempts of 70-plus yards in the Super Bowl era, according to the Elias Sports Bureau. But 70 yards.
Wow. That young man has a lead foot, literally.
When does that become the norm?
Titanium leg, whatever it is.
Well, I think what we're seeing, and we mentioned this in terms of the Titans, with his name Joey Sly. Is that right?
Yes.
Sly has kicked a bunch of really long field goals, and they're not afraid to try long field goals. What we're seeing now with the way teams do the math is if it's 4th and 2 or 3 in safe field goal range, more and more teams every year are going for those situations more than kicking the field goal. So it's putting more of a premium, I think, on kickers who can make the 57 to 60-yard field goal more often, right? And not kickers like Nick Folk, who are money in that range, but maybe their value is not quite as much. I still think the reliability of hitting from 45 and in is still something you got to have. But I think there's a higher standard now. It's like, give me the guy that, yeah, he's going to make the ones he's supposed to make, but he can be that guy at the end of a half or at the end of a game that can make it. And, we don't have to worry about, can he get it there? Most of these guys now can get it there from 60. And now you got a guy who got it there from 70. Like, it's raising the bar. Don't you think it's like every year there's guys going further and further back?
I think so. The athlete has changed tremendously, especially when you're talking place kickers. For the longest, it was, as long as you can make it within 40 yards, you're good. Now it's 45 and some even 50. They expect you to make 50-yarders now. And now you have this young kid that made a 70-yard field goal. I mean, you're going to start to see, I think, more and more where offenses are taking chances on kicking those long field goals, more so like right before the half or something like that. Or in crucial situations, they're not going to be scared to kick a 65, 70-yard field goal anymore. I know Baltimore did it. It seemed like every chance they get now. I mean, they still got a really good place kicker, but obviously he wasn't what they had. But these kickers, they're getting paid a lot. So the expectation has grown. Like Willie said, they expect you to make a 45-yard. You should be able to make that with your eyes closed. You should, because they're paying you so much now. Now it's like, can you make the 55-yarder consistently? And can we at least try a 60-yarder once a season or twice?
And I would like to see somebody who does the math and the analysis of this. But do you guys agree with my theory of maybe there's less value on the sure-footed kicker from 40, 45 and in because you're going for it so much more, right? Teams, there's no argument. They are going for it way, way more in that area of the field than they used to.
Yeah,
it's not even close, right?
Because they're expecting you. I think they look at kickers totally different now. Now that the
but
NFL,
that's not why they're doing it. They think that the math is telling them that if you go for it 3 times from the 35 on 4th and 3, you're going to end up scoring more points, even if you don't get it every time, right? Rather than kick 3 field goals.
Yeah,
that's 9 points. But if I score a touchdown in 2 out of those 3, then I end up with 14 points. The math is telling them over the long haul, they'll come out ahead by going for it more when it's like 4th and 2, 4th and 3. 4th and 8, obviously that's different. But don't you think, like, it used to be like, 4th and they're short. Here comes the field goal.
But I think it depends on where you're at. If
right, there's that range of the field.
Exactly. If you're always, it's all about field goal. Where's that line where I can't kick a field goal anymore? For every team, where's that line? You draw a line.
Right. Everybody has
that
has
and
they'll
line.
Put it on the screen, right? Here is the max that the guys hit.
Guys hit. So every team has that line. Is it better for me now, knowing where my line is? Is it better for me if I'm there to go for it on 4th and 1 or to kick the field goal?
And then other times, I think teams are coming around to this. Like Jeff Fisher would be the old school guy that he would, let's punt it. If it's at the 35 and maybe it's a 52 or 53-yard field goal, I don't know. I'm about running it. I'm playing defense. I'm playing field position. Let's punt it and move them in. Now I think there's a lot more of, hey, my guy can hit it pretty easy from 53. Let's put him out there. And by the same token, the ball, let's say it's 4th and 2, 4th and 3 from the 30. I think much more they're going for it there. They're not kicking the 46, 47 yarders as automatically. Jeff Fisher would have been automatic, just like the famous field goal by Al Del Greco that was blocked and returned for a touchdown. Sorry to bring it up to you, Mace. Sorry. I still get the cringy moments just thinking about it, but that was 4th and 1. Like in today's NFL, now there's a great Ravens defense. That would have been a heck of a play, right? Titans, Eddie George pounded it in there against the Ravens D. But now there's a lot more, hey, 4th and 1, we're going for that. But back then it was like, well, let's kick the field goal and go up 13-10.
That 70-yard field goal overshadowed Travis Hunter's unofficial NFL debut. Of course, Travis Hunter playing both sides of the ball, played 18 snaps, and the Jags lost to the Steelers, 10 on offense, all coming with the first team on the game's opening drive. He had 2 catches for 9 yards, another catch nullified by an illegal block penalty. According to ESPN, Hunter ran 6 routes, 5 of which came from the slot. He and Brian Thomas tied for the most targets from Trevor Lawrence with 2. Hunter also played 8 snaps on defense and had 1 missed tackle.
That's good.
They're committed.
They're committed to playing.
You're incredibly skeptical about
Yeah,
this.
I'm just.
You have been from the start.
I am not, doubting the kid's talent, that he can play either position. But I do know in this game that it's too physical of a game. The physicality is too much for a guy to consistently game in and game out. Let's just say giving you 40 plays on offense and 40 plays on defense, or 55 plays on offense and 35 to 40. You can't. It's physically, it's going to beat you up, and you're going to have a much shorter career, and you're not going to help your team. Why? Because he's going to be banged up more than anything. I understand he wants to do it because of the allure of being the only guy in the league that can truly do, both jobs. But realistically, is it good for you physically? No, it's not. And anybody that keeps pushing, I know Coach Sanders pushes it. I get it. That's it. He considers him his son anyway. But he even knows, like, that is taxing on your body. Because if I'm a defensive guy, if I'm an offensive guy and I see him out there, I'm running the ball at him. I am. And I'm going to wear him out. So when he get back on offense, he's not going to be worth anything. So that's the stuff that I look at. People just look at what he did in college. Again, I could have gotten you 10 players that could have did the same thing. Probably wouldn't have had the same numbers, but they would have been able to play offense and defense.
Especially, as I just read, most of his work came from the slot. You're going to get banged up down there.
Yeah, he's not a big guy. Next season, he will work on his weight. I know, and he'll have a full season just to work out on his job, which is football. But this year, he's going to, I don't hope this, he's going to get hurt. He's going to get hurt. If the Jacksonville Jaguars want to sit here and be idiots and placate to him and put him, 45, 50 plays on both offense and defense, he's going to get hurt.
One texter back to Cam/Shador/Dart. With the Cam-Shador-Dart comparison, you have to think about the future of the season as well. Cam's preseason workload may be managed more to avoid injury, as an example, or for other reasons. Even if his numbers didn't look as flashy as the other two, the other teams have a little bit more room to actually miss on those picks. Cam has to be the guy. The Browns have 6 quarterbacks, for crying out loud, and at least the Giants have seasoned veterans as a possible backup, meaning Russell Wilson, who is expected to start for the Giants, and Jameis Winston.
Yeah, they got better backups. Situations are different, so those guys don't have to play theoretically early because of their backups. That's not the same here. I wish the Titans did have a better backup, but even with that, if Cam proves he can play and should play, then you throw him out there. But it's always good to have a guy behind him that you can throw in there and that can win you some games and that the offense, like the other guys, feel good about.
Eli from Smyrna says there is a player on the Chargers who plays offense, defense, and special teams. I'm unfamiliar with this player.
Yeah, me too. Let me see how many plays he played all together. Probably about 30 plays all together.
How much of the Travis Hunter thing do we think is, I guess, hype driven, for lack of a better term? I mean, this is just something to keep in mind, in the back of your mind going forward. Jacksonville is desperate for ticket sales, excitement, hype. And so is that pushing the narrative a little bit more of, let's play this guy both ways, where maybe it's a little more sound to play a little bit less on one side. And on the other side, the agent driven, the receivers get paid more. So let's play receiver. Like I wonder about those outside pushes on as opposed to the football part of it.
Well, I'm sure they are pushing for him, like you said. They are pushing for him to play wide receiver. Why? Because wide receivers get paid more than defensive backs. And I think the longevity sits better with the wide receiver than it does with the DB. So taking all that into account, I would tend to believe as the season gets going, you're going to see him less and less on defense.
That'll do it for us today. Outstanding participation from all of you. Give yourselves a round of applause or a pat on the back. When you're not driving, of course, keep 2 hands on the wheel. 10 and 2. That's what I learned, at least. We will be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Teron Davenport will join us at 3:20 live from Atlanta. Titans Falcons practice. We will get a full breakdown from Teron, and we will talk to you tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Be love on your people. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful Monday. Peace.